broadcasting stations. It's time for Sportstime with Wolo and Stux. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolotion and Brett Stotts Norsworthy.
And a very pleasant Thursday, December 26, 2019, the day after. And all through the house, packages and boxes everywhere, isn't it? Good afternoon. We welcome you into Sports Time. Dave Wolotion on the road with the Tigers. Finally, it is, well, it's not here yet, but it's getting a lot closer. On the road to the Cotton Bowl with the Tigers, getting set for the Saturday morning 11 o'clock kick against the Penn State Nittany Lions. In the history of college football, there are those teams that you can just say their name, and that's evocative of all things college football. Penn State certainly one of those, and what James Franklin has done there, it's been everything. Well, he did win it one year. He's done everything but play for in a college football playoff. He's had really good teams every year he's been there, and I think he'll stay there quite a while. There was talk this year that he might be on a USC wish list. USC decided to stay with Clay Helton, and James Franklin he's in State College, PA. Well, he's in Dallas today too, but he stayed in State College, PA as his employment, and he's done him a great job. And didn't we think he would do that after what we saw him nearby here with Vanderbilt? He brought a team to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, came here and played Butch Jones in AutoZone Liberty Bowl against Cincinnati. So it all connects, doesn't it? And we welcome this week, starting to yesterday and today, the arrival of the United States Naval Academy. The Middies are in town to play in the 61st AutoZone Liberty Bowl on Tuesday afternoon at 2:45 against Kansas State. The Wildcats are here. I know where they practice today. I saw their big old bus pulling into MUS today, and I would assume very much that's where they are practicing in their time here in Memphis. So Kansas State and Navy Tuesday afternoon, Tigers and Penn State Saturday morning. And won't Saturday be some day of college football, with the Tigers kicking it off very early and other games at 11 o'clock as well. Notre Dame plays at 11 on Saturday in their game. They play, what is the name of that bowl? The Camping World Bowl, Notre Dame and Iowa State. That's at 11 o'clock right there with the Tigers and Penn State. And then at 3 o'clock, one part of the semifinals, LSU 13-0, champions of the SEC, Heisman Trophy winner Joe Burrow, and heavy favorites. Boy, Oklahoma not getting nobody's picking Oklahoma, near or far. I won't say not getting any respect. Jalen Hurts was the runner-up for the Heisman. They are OU, but that big a decided underdog that they are against LSU in Atlanta. That game will be after the Tigers game. And then that night, the night of the 28th, Saturday night, undefeated Clemson, undefeated Ohio State, both at 13-0. The winner will be 14-0. If it's Clemson, they will be back in the national championship game, looking to put a ribbon around 30 up, 30 down over the last 2 years. I think everybody in college football, whether you like him or not, and I do a whole lot, you have to respect what Nick Saban's done. But if Dabo Swinney, little kid word, if Dabo Swinney won it again this year, well, that's 3. And Dabo Swinney's around my age, 57, 58. He could go to at least the age that Coach Saban, where he is now at 69 or 70. He could win 2 or 3 more in that time, or more. Couldn't he? Maybe, possibly. So what Coach Saban has done is entered into a conversation with the great man, Coach Paul Bear Bryant. But Dabo Swinney not far behind if he gets that one this year. But Dave Wolotion, he is in Dallas with the Tigers. He's going to join us, we think, around 4:15. Media Day festivities today. A lot of players talking to the media, and some news made with Brady White telling the assembled media that it's a possibility that he does not return next year for another year of eligibility at the University of Memphis. He could grad transfer. Man, he could almost double grad transfer, couldn't he? And also the news last week of offensive lineman Scotty Deal being out, and then the news breaking with the Tigers' arrival to Dallas that Joey Magnifico will not play due to the injured knee. He's had that bursa sac injury on the knee, and it just keeps blowing up on him, and he just can't go. You understand that? So once again, around the bowl season, we see a lot of different lineups, a lot of different motivations, a lot of different enthusiasm for games and bowls and fans and teams around them. To that, I say bring your own momentum. Bring your own interest. And for me, I start at the baseline of the bowls do matter. Are they the end of time? No, they've never been that. Even if you lose a heartbreaker for the national championship, it's never been the end of time. But if you win, it matters. And it's why I don't like the kind of set up excuse by some of the bowls don't matter. I mean, you're already hearing it that if the Tigers beat Penn State, what meant Penn State didn't care. Well, what does that do to the winner? What does that do to the Memphis Tigers? It'd be the biggest win in the history of the school, but some, if not many, on the other side are almost apologizing, making an excuse for them. Well, they didn't care. What does that do to the winner? A few years ago, Central Florida had that happen to them against Auburn. I thought it was terribly unfair for them to win that game, to complete that undefeated season that they claimed a national championship for, and then you're told, well, the team didn't care. I just don't think that is what sports should be all about, that you get to set up your excuse a little bit before the season or the game even starts. You know, I guarantee you both the young guys on the other side. On the other side today is Carl Morrison and Zach Boyd. And I guarantee you guys, neither one of y'all have ever seen the movie The Exorcist, have you?
No, I haven't.
You've never seen?
No, we have not seen the movie The Exorcist.
Well, I've got two guys helping me. With Drew gone to the Cotton Bowl, he's at Media Days. With Dave gone to the Cotton Bowl, heck, half the radio stations in Dallas today. I've got two guys helping me. It only took 6 priests to drive the devil out of Linda Blair in The Exorcist, and I got 2 guys helping me today. Do I need this much help, Zach?
I mean, just for today, we're a little thin spreading across the shows, but
Appreciate
I mean,
you guys.
we're making it work.
Appreciate you guys. The day after the holiday, I hope everybody had a great one. You know, I've had some extended time off, and I'm glad to be back in here. And for me, I love any and everything about Christmas. But when the party's over, it's over for me. And it usually ends about 10 o'clock on Christmas night with the ceremonial taking down of the tree. And I got that completed mostly last night and into this morning. And now it starts the time for me between now and the end of the bowl season that is stretched out a little too long. The national championship game will be played Monday, January 13th. That's a long time. But I really love the march up to the bowl games, including the AutoZone Liberty Bowl on Tuesday, where I will go. I think, I was counting it up, I think it will be my 35th AutoZone Liberty Bowl to go to in person. There are people with a lot bigger number than that. It moved here in 65. So there are people with more. I think Dave Woloshin's been to more than I have. I think he's been to 37 or 38. He's missed a couple, but not many since he's been in this market. But I love the march to the bowls, and already one on today. And if you don't think things can change in a hurry for you, I'm not going to say this happens to Clemson or this happens to Alabama anytime soon, although Alabama, did hit leaner, and especially by their standards. Clemson sure did. But the day after Christmas in Shreveport at the Independence Bowl, Miami, playing in the 3 o'clock December 26th game. Wow. It can come at you fast, and it has happened to Miami. I know year one of Manny Diaz, but did you see any signs out there this year that you could really, stake the claim to use on the way back? I didn't. Louisiana Tech, their opponent today, and boy, I kind of just did what I don't like people doing. You can lose and say they don't care. Louisiana Tech cares, and Skip Holtz in his 7th year at La Tech doing a good job, but they're probably a little more motivated. But bring your own motivation for all these bowl games. We got a busy Thursday for you. Yeah, today is Thursday. What has it really felt like to everybody today?
Just another warm after Christmas
Monday,
Tuesday, it just feels warm
Saturday.
today.
What's it felt like day-wise, though?
Day-wise, I mean, it was pretty good.
Well, Zach, you've been here all day. So
I've been here the whole day, so I've been here since like 5:30. So
Yeah.
I'm running on like fumes over here.
Hey, Carl, you've been here most of the day, haven't you?
I've been here since 1,
Well, the day's young to you then.
pretty much.
You're pretty bright-eyed then. So we'll be with you until 6 o'clock. Dave will join us from Dallas, from the Cotton Bowl. I know he left out today. A lot of people leaving early by car, some late last night. Dave will join us about 4:15. And at 3:30, we'll talk college football with Bill Bender from the Sporting News. Look forward to catching up with him. 4 o'clock, we'll go inside Hoop City, brought to you by Campbell Clinic with Elliott Perry. Grizzlies on the road tonight in Oklahoma City, and continuing kind of that place they're in. They're not in a go-for-it spot, but they would really have to go full tankathon without any injuries. We don't want that. With everybody being healthy, I don't think the Grizzlies can fight to that race for the bottom. Golden State fought yesterday. I thought they were probably the team that nobody could out-bottom them this year, and they had a great win yesterday on the full day of Christmas NBA games. 4:30, we talk NFL with Russell Copeland. At 4:50, we will do our bowl picks on the games that will be played tonight. And before we come on the air tomorrow, I have Drew's picks, I have Dave's picks, and I will give mine at that time at 5 o'clock to start the 5 o'clock hour. Stephen Hawkins, Associated Press reporter down in Dallas on the Cotton Bowl, will get his take on both sides of the Cotton Bowl between Penn State and the University of Memphis Tigers. And at 5:30, from Clutch Points app and Blue Ribbon Magazine, Blake Lovell on college basketball. 3 undefeated teams remaining in college basketball. Liberty looks like they could go out there a while if they could survive the next game or two for them. And then the other, San Diego State sure could. And who is the third team from college basketball still undefeated right now? But 3 still undefeated. There's somebody big.
I'll look it up for you.
Huh?
I'll look it up for you.
But there's just 3 left out of 353, and I didn't think there would be 1 remaining by the start of the new year. We're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. The after Christmas sale right now, up to half off display models, closeouts, even new items. All 2019 spas must go to make room for incoming inventory. 1,000s off all in-stock spas. Theater seating and massage chairs priced to move. Game table starting at $99. Summer will be here before you know it. Felt like it a little bit yesterday, didn't it? Buy now and be the first in line for the installation for anything this summer. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Let's have our top story of the day. Our top story of the day is T-minus 44 hours or so until the Tigers in the Cotton Bowl against mighty Penn State. It's still kind of it's mostly house money for the game. It's not win or the season is marred whatsoever. This was historic Tiger year. I'm not trying to do what I already said I don't like people doing, set up a motivational excuse on either side. But it was an historic year for the Tigers, regardless of what the outcome will be on Saturday, what the margin will be. But what a way for Ryan Silverfield to begin his Tigers head coaching career, to start 1-0, and it's against Penn State. And then what that will set off, the wave of optimism for the future. That's already big anyway, but for 2020, the season will be so anticipated. Opening day against Arkansas State, it'll be a countdown like you've never seen before around here for opening day, coming off a 13-1 Cotton Bowl champions and beating Penn State. The momentum would be strong. Where the Tigers would start next year in the preseason polls will be largely predicated on how the game ends Saturday. But regardless of the outcome on Saturday, it has already been an historic year, and I don't know how anybody can really argue that this isn't the biggest game in Tigers history. Not must win. Down the stretch of the year, those games were the must-win games to set this up, because I don't want to be too extreme, but where the Tigers would have fallen if they had lost anywhere down the stretch of the year as they were building to hosting the AAC conference championship game and then the win over Cincinnati, one slip-up after Temple. They had one left in them, or you don't go to the Cotton Bowl, and you go to the, I don't know, Tony the Tiger. No, they wouldn't have gone to that. They go to the Cheez-It Bowl. I don't think they would have gone to that either. But one of these games that would not have the cachet of the Cotton Bowl at AT&T Stadium where the Cowboys play at Jerry's Dome. That's why this is that big. Let's get to our not top story.
Not top story of the day.
From the China controversy in October, this has been one of the slouchiest starts for an NBA season. I won't say ever, and I won't say 20 years. I'll say just in a while. Maybe since the truncated 66-game lockout year. That one started odd because it started around this time with the long lockout. But it has not been a great start for the NBA. And yesterday was kind of the reboot for the NBA. Always is for a little of the more casual NBA followers and watchers to maybe get a little bit more interested, reinterested on Christmas Day. It was a good day yesterday, a lot of good games, a lot of big stars playing. But the ratings so far this year have been really down for the NBA, and there's a lot of reasons for that. The player movement, I don't know that a lot of people were watching yesterday that didn't watch it with, oh, I didn't know he was on this team. Oh, I didn't know this guy played for them. I don't know that the NBA did a great job in maybe branding some of the player movement, and they do a fabulous, usually PR job, where the big stars are. But a lot of people watching yesterday for the first time probably thought, I didn't know these were the rosters. The load management is a big issue, and ratings have been down. So maybe yesterday was the reboot for this long NBA season. The Grizzlies already at the 31-game mark, and that means you got 51 left. It's always a lot. Seems like a lot of games left for the NBA. Dave's in Dallas with the Tigers. Drew's in Dallas with the Tigers. We will go to Dallas and talk Tigers with Dave at some point. We'll also go to Dallas at 5 o'clock and talk Tigers and Penn State with Stephen Hawkins from the Associated Press. He covers all things Dallas. We'll also get his thoughts on the Cowboys. Must win for them on Sunday, and they should win. And then they got to hope that the New York Giants give the Eagles on the sports pain threshold one of the most painful losses ever for the Cowboys, then get the 4th seed and host a playoff game. We'll talk with Stephen Hawkins about that. First Bank 67129 is the text line. 360-8255, the First Bank phone line. Again, happy holidays and a happy 2020 from everyone at First Bank. All the First Bank bankers have deep Memphis roots in banking and business experience and expertise. Experienced Memphis bankers that you get to know and trust. Visit firstbankonline.com. And First Bank, they know what you need, a reliable, trustworthy banker that can give you an answer. They make the decisions for you in Memphis, right here in Memphis, not Nashville, not Birmingham, not Atlanta, but right here in Memphis. First Bank, they have stories and a record of customers reaching high. Community banks are the preferred lender of people building a success story. Build your success story with First Bank. Visit firstbankonline.com. That's firstbankonline.com. A lot of, in the 150th year of college football, a lot of stories out there with that, with anniversary teams, and ESPN has released their All-American team for college football's 150th anniversary at some point during the day today. We'll try to get to that. Roger Staubach, one of the quarterback, or the quarterback for the 150th anniversary team. His Naval Academy team in town to play Tuesday in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. On all these lists this year, and I've had Bill Bender from the Sporting News is going to join us in a few minutes. He had me do my top 10 players. I have not a single time all year when I've seen any of these lists of best players, best stadiums, best rivalries, I don't pick at it. I take it just however it falls out, because it's impossible task to really definitively know, this guy is really the best running back in the history of college football. I think it's Herschel Walker. I had him as my number one player all time. It may not be to others. I mean, it could be different tastes for other people. But we will get that. Reggie White on that 150th anniversary team. Charles Woodson, of course, the only defensive player to ever win the Heisman Trophy. He's part of that. We'll get to that. We'll talk a lot of the bowls. Primarily, we'll talk the Cotton Bowl with the Tigers. Anybody take exception to this is the biggest game in Tigers football history? I don't see how you can. Down the stretch of the year when I would say that about this week's the biggest game, some would want to take exception of this game, this year, that game, this other time. But now, 12-1 Memphis will run out on the field to play Penn State. And this is a great Penn State team. They're in the Cotton Bowl for a reason, one of the priority bowl games. And they're in it for the reason that you look at their two losses. They played Ohio State more narrowly, closer than anybody else did all year. And when they lost on the road to Minnesota late in the year, on that date, Minnesota was probably the hottest around that time, was one of the hotter teams in college football on Saturday, November 9th. Hosted game day, had a big wave of momentum for that game, and narrowly escaped with a win over Penn State. This is a great Penn State team, I think. I've heard a lot of people talk about their defense, and I agree that the back part of it is a little more vulnerable than the front. And now with Scotty Deal out and a good inline blocker like Joey Magnifico out, that could present some trouble with the D-line push that Penn State will get. When we come back, we'll visit with Bill Bender from the Sporting News. I know he's ready for the bowl games. Look forward to visiting him. We want you to stay with us. We're here until 6 o'clock. This is Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 87.7 and 96.1.
Happy holidays to all of our great Sports 56 listeners. We appreciate all of your support throughout 2019 and look forward to a great 2020.
Due to an upturn in the economy, Main Street Business Loans has pre-approved the release of millions of dollars in small business funding. Your business may already be pre-approved to receive up to $250,000. We've sent out millions of pre-approval letters. We see the economy growing, and our underwriters believe now is the time to invest in your business so you can grow faster and make more money. And we're prepared to give you up to $250,000 to do it. Your funds can be available in 5 days. There are no application fees, no annual fees, just quick access to up to $250,000. If your business did not receive your approval letter to get up to $250,000, call Main Street Business Loans Approval Desk now.
800-509-2163, 800-509-2163, 800-509-2163, 800-509-2163.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
800-561-6198. 800-561-6198. 800-561-6198. Again, that's 800-561-6198.
For over 25 years, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 has been bringing you great local sports talk. With 13 hours of local talk daily, we continue to be Memphis's local sports leader. The day starts with Keith Parker and Elliot Wender on the Press Box from 6 to 7, followed by the Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt from 7 to 10. Sports 56 middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy takes you through lunch from 10 until 1. And then, John Harden brings you Johnny Radio's Happy Hour from 1 to 3. 3. Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy drive you home every afternoon with Sports Time with Wolo and Stats from 3 till 6. And John Rennie wraps up the day with Southern Sports Report from 6 to 7 before we turn things over to Fox Sports Radio to get you through the evening. We also bring you Ole Miss sports, NFL football, and the NCAA basketball tournament. Don't miss anything. Keep your radio locked in right here on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
We like to party.
360-8255 to be a part of our show, or 67129. That's the First Bank phone line and the First Bank text line. We'd love for you to be a part of it on the day after Christmas. Hope everybody continues to have a happy holiday season. Happy Hanukkah to those celebrating that. Any holiday you're celebrating, we hope it's the very best as we roll into the start of 2020, and from now till Old Anxiety's played, I'm ready for college football. The U playing in Shreveport. I've been to the Independence Bowl. That stadium didn't look like that on the night I was there in 1983 for Ole Miss and Air Force, and the weather was so bad. I know every Ole Miss fan that went that night, you can remember the guy parachuting into the stadium. If we checked on him since, he was parachuting in with the ball, and he got hung up in one of the light standards. I don't think he made it successfully into the stadium that night, and I mean a biblical rain. They would stop that game 25 different ways if you tried to play it now. That was Ken Hatfield's last game at Air Force before he took the Arkansas job later. It was an early game. I want to say it was like December 10th or 11th on a Saturday, maybe even a Friday night. Help me, Ole Miss fans. Was it Friday night or a Saturday? I think a Saturday. Well, I drove down to Little Rock and rode with a friend of mine to Shreveport for that game. I know somebody that really appreciates the Bowls, and that's Bill Bender from the Sporting News. He joins us now. And, Bill, I love all these games on. I like it on just constantly. If nothing else, it's background noise. How are you?
Oh, for sure. I don't mind this at all. To be able to watch some games. And like I said, I got that one on in the background right now and chasing my kids around a little bit. Wife's out shopping, doing the return thing, and I'm just getting after it with the kids. But great to talk to you, Brad. I hope you had a great holiday.
I did, Bill, and I know y'all did in Ohio, and I know in Ohio they're ready for Ohio State and Clemson, and the stakes could not be bigger. Both undefeated. The winner plays in the national championship game for Ryan Day. He could, in his first year, win it all. And for Dabo Swinney, I brought this up earlier, Bill. What Coach Nick Saban has done in entering into the discussion with Bear Bryant is the greatest ever. If Dabo Swinney won it this year, he's got one or two more in him the rest of his way. He could start entering into some discussions as one of the great coaches of all time, couldn't he?
Oh, he sure can. I mean, he's already in that on some level because of what he's done at Clemson. I think anytime you win multiple, you get that right, and you get that ball rolling. And I think what he's done there, just setting that foundation, has been pretty incredible. And look for that to continue. I mean, they've got a chance to really do some special things here. If they win both, that'd be 30 in a row. Not many teams are saying they can do that. And then they'd have, in theory, to have Lawrence back for another one. And then if that ball got rolling next year, you remember that with USC. I think we'd start to get in those kinds of discussions next year if Clemson was able to pull off back-to-back.
You got to win to do it, but they're on the verge of it. It's two to go for all those teams playing in the national semifinals. But here, a lot of interest and a lot of hard work that was put in by many people, starting with Justin Fuente, but continuing with Mike Norvell. And for Ryan Silverfield, he wants to pull a Danny Ford. Danny Ford went out there as a young coach, 0-0 against Woody Hayes on Woody Hayes' last night as a head coach. Ryan Silverfield, would a coach ever start with a bigger bang for their buck at 1-0 than him beating Penn State in the Cotton Bowl?
It reminds me, I mean, yeah, it's even bigger than, I remember when Bill Stewart subbed for Rich Rod and got a big win in the Fiesta Bowl. And that kind of thing. You know, those things happen, and that's what makes these games very intriguing. I think Memphis, not many people are giving them much of a chance to win that game, so if they went out there and did that, it'd be a heck of a finish to a heck of a season and really put this program on another level. And Mike Norvell contributed to that, but as you mentioned, I mean, now the goal is to keep that thing going.
And Memphis and Penn State on Saturday, and the job that James Franklin's turned in at Penn State, he's been just as solid as you could ever want for him. He hadn't won at all. He hadn't played in the national semifinals yet. That's the only thing really lacking.
Yeah, I mean, they've been close, and, you know, they've been the one school. I mean, I know we've talked a lot about Michigan and Harbaugh on this show, but, you know, they've been the team that's kind of been the biggest, what do you call it, the threat to Ohio State. Mm-hmm. You know, they took them to the fourth quarter twice. They gave them a four-quarter game this year. That was really their first big test, and I think for them to win a second New Year's Day Six Bowl, I believe it would be 2 in 4 years. That would be a fantastic achievement for the Nittany Lions, given especially that they lost with the talent recruited.
You faded out on me just a little bit. They lost what, Bill?
Well, I'm sorry. I've been having issues with this phone all day. No, I said, you know, losing Trace McSorley, they've been able to backfill that with some of the talent. And that looks, I think it's going to continue, Brett.
Yeah, I do too. We're visiting with Bill Bender from the Sporting News, and this year celebrating the 150th year of college football. Bill, it's been a lot of lists. I made kind of, I didn't say anything about it on the air, and most people probably don't care, but I kind of made a little bit of a vow to myself. I took a pledge at SEC Media Days that this year, on any discussion about 150th, best league, best coach, best player, ESPN's got their All-American team out today. Roger Staubach's the quarterback of it. I made a vow to myself, however it falls, it falls. If that's somebody else's opinion, I'm going to try. I'm going to respect it. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to go, no, you're crazy. If you don't have so-and-so at fill in the blank, then you don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't going to do that. I just wanted to enjoy this college football conversation, this buffet we've had all year, and I have enjoyed this 150th celebration. What do you think most people maybe learned about college football in that 150 celebration that you don't think they knew in August?
You know, I don't know, Brett. You're a historian of this game, kind of like I try to be. And I just think you look back, and for me, it was looking back at some clips and sharing stories. And I think the thing about being a college football journalist, the most important thing is to tell stories. Yeah. And, you know, for me, it's just awesome to look back at that. I would say one player I probably have more of an appreciation for, two, I'll give you two, that I have more of an appreciation for that I'm too young to remember watching play college. I remember them as NFL players. One would be Tony Dorsett, because of some of the stories I've heard about him and how he carried Pitt, and you look at his numbers, they're amazing. And two would be Derek Thomas, who you mentioned that ESPN All-American team. And like you, I don't fault anybody. You know, these lists, we all do them. We all have opinions, and people don't like them no matter what. I mean, the only one that I looked at on that one, I was like, well, I'd probably put Derek Thomas on the first team. But, you know, that's just me.
Yeah, I would have Derek Thomas on just about any team that played defense that had anything to do with college football. But I don't want to impeach anybody if they don't. I'm with you. I knew the Tony Dorsett story, and it is some story. I think for me, the thing that struck me the most of telling the story is it took a long time, too long, an embarrassing, ugly chapter for America and for college football. But once we did, it was too long. But once real integration started, the modern game that we know, that's when it started.
Oh, for sure. And I think, you know, we did that list of games, and, you know some of the guys I work with, Mike DeCourcy and Vinny Iyer, and we had some animated discussions in Slack about some of these lists that we did. You obviously were a part of our top 10 player list, which I was most proud of because of the number of voices that we got in it. And, you know, the thing that, so my good friend Romando Dixon is a sports editor down at Clarion Ledger.
Yep.
And I was talking to him after this. Romando and I go way back. We've been friends forever. And I told him, you know, he told me the coolest thing about that list was, you know, guys would put a Derek Brooks on there or somebody that they may have liked that may not even be a top 10 player, but it's a top 10 player in their mind. You know, guys like Steve McNair. I mean, Neil Lomax got a vote in our list.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? That's cool, man. Do what you got to do.
Yeah. You know, somebody once voted for Pat Paulson for president. Okay, do what you got to do. And both of us, the enormous respect we both have for Tommy Frazier. I've told people if you and it's hard to do because the NFL becomes such the defining part of a person's career and how great they are, great in air quotes here. But if you can try your best to keep it to just college football, I think Tommy Frazier's the best quarterback I ever saw.
Yeah, I mean, well, another guy was on your top 10, and I go back to him, and I think you had 10 easily in your top 10. And at first I was like, what did you ask for? And then I went back and looked, and I'm like, well, you know, if you grew up in that era or you were watching in that era, you may have been the best defensive back. And he went on to an awesome Hall of Fame career that probably took too long to get him in Canton, by the way. But I love that part of it, you know. And then, you know, there were guys who voted for other guys. And for me to be a Big Ten guy and see the thing that I love most about it, and I've said this before, is you got football. You told stories about football players.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether it was Jim Thorpe or Tommy Frazier was a football player. He wasn't a quarterback. He was just a winner, a football player, and you know that's how it's done. Tebow was a football player. I think you know if you kind of spin it ahead to this playoff, Joe Burrow is a football player and a great story, and what he's done
Jalen
has been wonderful. Yeah, football player, guy that, you know, these quarterbacks that are leading these teams, they range from the transcendent. Like, I think Trevor and Joe Burrow are both going to be number one picks. But like you said, that NFL may define them more. Like, I don't know how, Brett, I'll put it to you this way. I don't know how Joe Burrow's NFL career is going to go.
I don't either.
But I know he just strung together maybe the greatest season ever in the SEC.
And Bill, I hate that sometimes the only two-time winner, back-to-back winner, Archie Griffin, yeah, but he was a bomb with the Bengals and a bomb in the USFL. For talking about college, I don't care. Now, if you want to have an NFL conversation, that is factual. He did not have a great NFL career, but I sometimes hate that he's a little bit diminished by that NFL aspect of it. On Saturday, do you think people are underselling, short-selling Oklahoma to their detriment? Because this is a proud program.
And they're making their fourth appearance in this thing, and third in 3 years, and they faced Georgia, and they faced Alabama, and they faced Clemson. So I think you're right. I got this thing coming tomorrow with like my 5 bold predictions for the playoff, and I saw spoil one. I think they'll cover. I don't know that they'll win, but I think they're not going to, you know, just fade because of the stage. And in a game where all of these offenses are so hyper-productive, better be careful. And I say that in terms of LSU comes out and can't run the ball because if Hilaire's sitting out and they turn it over a couple times, it becomes a different ballgame real fast because all 4 of these teams can score on you, they can take advantage of turnovers, and they're well coached. I mean, Riley, Orgeron, Ryan Day, Dabo Swinney, that's pretty good.
It's real good. Somebody had to be the first game of the day. I mean, you got undefeated LSU, 1-loss OU, Heisman Trophy winner, Heisman Trophy runner-up, and it's the warm-up act. Then leading into Ohio State and Clemson, and that should be a huge Saturday night TV bonanza rating, shouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. I think, you know, like the build-up to that, it's been similar. I don't think it's quite as big, but similar to when Alabama and Ohio State played the first playoff because of what's at stake, because both of these teams have tried to play the disrespect card. I think a little too much, honestly. If you're an ACC fan or a Big Ten fan of another school, you probably roll your eyes at the disrespect thing. But that's why. I think they're both going to go at it, play a really competitive game, and we'll see how it goes. I like Clemson to make a couple more plays, but would not be the least bit surprised if Ohio State won.
Man, I started the show with you on Saturday. We will wake up. Everybody here will be plugged into the Tigers and Penn State in the Cotton Bowl. Opposite of them, playing at the very same time, will be 10-win Notre Dame against Iowa State that was just here 2 years ago against Memphis in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Brian Kelly going for an 11th win. I think just a phenomenal job. And we talked a lot during the year of the week-over-week improvement of Ian Book and just the really steady footing, the solid foundation that Brian Kelly has for Notre Dame.
Yeah, they've had a wonderful season. I think not, when they lost to Michigan, that was probably the end of their playoff hopes. But instead of rolling over, they went out, they won 5 in a row, they kept playing well, and I think that's something to keep in mind. So, yeah, for me, I think it's a program on solid ground. They don't want to be in that game. I don't think anybody from Notre Dame wants to be in that game, but I think they'll compete and go out and win a bowl game, and that's what they'll do.
What bowl game will you go to?
I'll be home for the semis, but I'm going to go to the championship game, so I'm looking forward to being off the couch and watching both games and kind of roaring off that, and then we'll get ready to head down to New Orleans for a couple of days, and nobody's going to argue with that. And
what a host town it will be no matter what. But if LSU's in that game, New Orleans will be right. I don't know what it'll be doing, continuing New Year's Eve or starting Mardi Gras or both.
Yeah, exactly. So, and like I said, I think LSU and Clemson are going to win these semis, and that's going to be kick off another round of SEC and ACC fatigue. But you know what? These are two best teams this year. I think Ohio State's right there with them, so I won't be surprised if they do this either. But if you get Burrow, Lawrence, those storylines, like we talked about with Dabo trying to win 30 in a row, and then LSU with Burrow and what he's done, that's going to attract enough attention. It'll be pretty cool.
We've got good storylines, and like you said, what we want more than anything else, we want a good story. Bill Bender, thank you so much. Happy holidays continuing to you and yours, and a happy 2020. And we will talk to you. It'll be the first time I've said this so far. We'll talk to you next year.
Sounds good, Brad. Appreciate it.
You got
Thanks so much, and same to you.
Thank you very much. Bill Bender with the Sporting News. He joins us every Thursday during college football season. And that's the first time I've had that we'll talk next year. We will with Bill Bender. It'll be a great day of football Saturday with the Tigers bright and early and with those two national semis and Notre Dame out there in what is the name of that? The Camping World Bowl. One of the 19 bowl games they have in the Orlando area. That's one of them against Iowa State. Iowa State jumped at that invitation. Why wouldn't you to play against Notre Dame? When we come back, we'll wrap up this hour. Dave Wolo will join us from Dallas. Media Days going on at the Cotton Bowl. We'll talk with him about the Tigers down in Dallas preparing for Penn State when he joins us. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
The Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Campbell Clinic now offers daytime walk-in care, and you don't need an appointment. If you've got any kind of urgent break, sprain, strain, you can walk into any of their 5 convenient locations Monday through Friday from 8 until 4. There's no long wait you have to put up with the ER, and those doctors are really good, but they're not orthopedists. They're not world-renowned orthopedists who have come up with different procedures and written the manuals for them that are used everywhere in the world, and I'm not kidding you. And you can now see those doctors who treat the Tigers, the Grizzlies, the Redbirds. You can see them today without an appointment. And I'm talking Collierville, Germantown, South Haven, downtown at the Med Center, or even the Campbell Clinic Spine Center in Cordova. Now, if you've got something pressing, you got to go to work, and you can bear the pain until the evening, there's Campbell Clinic After Hours. That's Monday through Thursday from 5 to 8 in Germantown, South Haven, even Saturday morning in Germantown. If you're injured, don't wait. Visit Campbell Clinic Walk-In Care or Campbell Clinic After Hours.
No, we'll do the New Year's resolution Central Barbecue spot next month in January.
That makes no sense. If the New Year's resolution spot for Central Barbecue is about resolving to eat more Central Barbecue, then the spot has to be done before they make their New Year's resolutions.
But I have to remind everyone that they can make their life much simpler during the holidays by picking up some Central Barbecue to feed everyone.
No, I get that. And believe me, I'm just happy we're not doing a spot about putting ribs in people's stockings.
I forgot about that one.
I feel like people already know they can pick up Central Barbecue for all their holiday events, whether it's family or work. But if we are going to do a New Year's resolution spot, it should be done now.
Too late. We're out of time.
Credit products are issued by WebBank, member FDIC. Rates and terms vary based on credit history. Amazon is not a sponsor of this promotion. Offer valid for loan products 90 days after today. Other restrictions apply. See website for details.
How do I feel? Awesome.
Like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
Hundreds of thousands of people are discovering the relief of a fixed-rate debt consolidation loan through Avant.
I paid off all my credit cards, and now I just have one easy monthly payment with Avant. And I don't have to worry about the rates going up.
Avant offers you access to unsecured debt consolidation loans from $2,000 to $35,000.
When I saw Avant was accredited by the Better Business Bureau, I knew that was the company for me.
Do you know how good it feels to only worry about one monthly payment?
Experience the relief of a debt consolidation loan through Avant. Plus, get a free $50 Amazon gift card after your first payment is made on time. To check your loan options and get this free offer, go to Avant.com and enter code 4242 when applying. Avant.com, code 4242. That's Avant.com, code 4242.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
And the coach calls timeout.
Wait a minute, you can't call timeout when you have leaks and Mother Nature is roaring through your home.
A technical foul from outer space may be in order.
Don't know about that, but we can measure your roof from outer space at BrianElderRoofing.com.
So if you need repairs or wondering if you think you may have a claim,
call me before you call your insurance company. And we've got 0% interest for 60 months with approved credit. We won't try to sell you a new roof if all you need is a repair.
My friend Chris Price, a longtime donor of the U of M. Call him, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
God bless America, Penny and Mike, and go Tigers.
And now back to the game.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
The ARS Rescue Rooter National Hoop Fest, presented by Conway Services Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, is coming. It's 3 days of great high school basketball to kick off the new year right here in Hoop City, January 2nd through the 4th. The action starts Thursday at Christian Brothers as CBHS hosts their fellow Christian Brothers from St. Louis. Friday the 3rd brings 4 games at Briarcrest Christian School and 2 more at Olive Branch High School. And then Saturday features great basketball throughout the day with 6 games at Briarcrest starting at 12:30 in the afternoon. It's your chance to see top teams from around the country do battle with the best of Memphis and see some of the nation's top recruits, including 19 top 50 recruits. It's the ARS Rescue Rooter National Hoop Fest, presented by Conway Services Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, January 2nd through the 4th. 3 days of great high school basketball. See the full schedule and get tickets at nationalhoopfest.com.
Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
Thank you, Carl. Good job, you and Zach on the other side. And Carl, you had that third team for me. Thank you. It's Auburn, the third remaining team undefeated from college basketball. Auburn went to the Final Four last year.
Very impressive.
When I was down there with Ole Miss early November, their people were saying they thought they were better this year than last.
I can honestly see why they believe that. They to me, they seem better. They're playing better, and they know what they're capable of doing, especially after last season.
They got some losses out there. They're not going undefeated.
No, I don't think they're gonna go undefeated.
76 Indiana's not worried about that being them knocking them off.
Is that game in Indiana?
No. 76 Indiana was the last undefeated team.
Oh, yeah.
They're not worried about Auburn joining them. And we mentioned Liberty and San Diego State. Liberty's got a tough game before they get into their conference play, and they could end up scratched up before conference play. But if they don't, they will probably go into their conference tournament undefeated at the end of the year. Although a conference loss for anybody. It can happen on almost any road game. We were talking in the break about the Tigers and their schedule, And there are schedule losses. You know, that road game at Wichita State, you know, I think for the Tigers is still, you know, a dicey one. But maybe a road game at UCF for the Tigers, maybe. You know, I'm just out there looking for losses. They play at Houston on the last day of the year.
Okay, on 31st?
No, on the last day of the season. Not of the calendar year, of the season. They play there on March 8th before the conference tournament starts. So, you know, that'd be senior day for Kelvin Sampson at the newly remodeled High-Fines, finally no longer dimly lit High-Fines. You can actually see around in there. Everybody says, I've never been when it was dimly lit or not, but it looks a lot better. That's a game they could lose. But even without James Wiseman, I was away when the James Wiseman news came down. You know, Dick Vitale is still floating out there the idea of him still returning.
I don't see why. He's hiring an agent. He's withdrew from the school. He's no longer a student at the University of Memphis.
Somebody needs to let Mr. Vitale know that, because on Twitter, he's still out there. You know, come on, James, it's not too late. You have until January 12th. That was the game, right?
That's when he was supposed to come back.
And, you know, I don't want to take off on Dick Vitale. I think he's been a great contributor, ambassador for the game. But somebody needs to break the news to him.
Sometimes you just got to let things be. let them go.
It ain't happening. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen.
Because is that even possible for a student athlete to withdraw fully from school? Not just the basketball team, but he's no longer a student.
Never mind agent contact.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know what he's taking.
He's preparing for the NBA draft.
Now,
he's not coming back.
If he hadn't taken money, I don't think a lot of people realize this. And I know I'm right about this. If you don't take money, or you don't take them buying you lunch, you can meet with an agent all you want.
Right, long as you don't sign.
Long as you don't sign, you don't take anything, do anything. They can't advance you any money. But, you know, if let's say James Wiseman was in school, scandal-free, nothing going on, and his family wanted to sit down with them and hear bids from agents for the end of the year, they can do that all they want. Now, they can't buy them lunch. They can't buy mom and dad anything.
Yeah, none of that.
You can't do anything, and that's why you're scared. That's why the compliance office is scared to death of you getting near any of them, because honestly,
I actually learned a lot of that from the movie Blue Chips with Penny Hardaway, Shaquille O'Neal, and that's how I learned a lot of what you can and cannot do. Like, you can't no type of exchanging of anything.
No, you just can't take anything. 67129 at the First Bank text line. Texter says Tommy Frazier and Herschel Walker, Tim Tebow, Bo Jackson, best college players that he ever saw. They were all great. I said I thought Tommy Frazier was as good a college quarterback as I about ever watched for what he had to do in the Tom Osborne offense. And he said all of them, didn't do that much in the pros. Herschel did do a lot in the pros. He did. He did a lot in professional football, both in the USFL and the NFL. I think Herschel Walker should be in Canton in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It is not the NFL Hall of Fame. I think Doug Flutie should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame for what he did in the USFL, NFL, and the CFL. You look at Herschel Walker's rushing, receiving, and kick return yardage in the NFL, and then what he did in the USFL for 2 years with the New Jersey Generals. I think he should be in. Herschel did have a good pro career. Tim Tebow didn't. Tommy Frazier had none, and Bo was injured. Hour one in the books. When we come back, we start it with Elliott Perry. We go inside Hoop City, brought to you by Campbell Clinic. We'll visit with Elliott Perry on all things Grizzlies and Tigers. You are listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Mid-South Power Distributors is your source for all things diesel. Their newly renovated drive-in repair shop is open to the public. Whether it'll be your everyday driver, farm equipment, fleet vehicle, or heavy-duty truck, their ASE-certified technicians will get you back on the road. The on-site dyno is ready to run all the necessary diagnostic testing. From preventative maintenance to complete overhauls, Mid-South Power can handle it all. Stop in today at 3288 Mill Branch Road or call 901-396-0710 and online at mid-southpower.com.
The Season of Performance event is going on now at Acura of Memphis. Choose from a large selection of Acura of Memphis's entire lineup. The Acura TLX with premium tech and exceptional performance. Or drive the 3-row, 7-passenger SUV, the Acura MDX. Or Acura of Memphis' top-selling luxury crossover, the Acura RDX. Stop in and take advantage of special year-end pricing as well as incredible lease and financing options. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
Get to Holly Chevrolet in Marion because Chevrolet has announced employee pricing discount for everyone. You pay what we pay, not a cent more. Right now, save over $11,000 off MSRP on the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. The all-new 2019 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab 4-wheel drive custom trail boss. Or save over $9,000 off MSRP on a 2020 Chevy Equinox LT front-wheel drive. Stop by today and check out Holly's large selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs ready for you to enjoy. And at Holly Chevrolet, it's a no-pressure, no-hassle environment. As a matter of fact, there's no Badgers. And never pay a dock fee. Find new roads at Exit 14 off I-55 in Marion, just 15 minutes from downtown Memphis. And online at hollychevrolet.com.
2019 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab 4-wheel drive custom trail boss, stock number N3564. 2020 Chevy Equinox LT front-wheel drive, stock number N4017. All discounts, rebates, and incentives are included and applied. Must qualify and finance with GM Financial have a 2005 or newer GM product. Prices don't include tax, tag, title, registration. Pay delivery by 12/31/19. See dealer for details.
If you're one of the millions of Americans who owes back taxes, if you get nervous when the mail comes because you might get a letter from the IRS, then you've heard. Their enforcement agents are cracking down this year and can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts. Even your home or business could be at risk over unpaid taxes. It's all true, but it's also true there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative, an important government program for tax debt assistance. The award-winning experts at Optima Tax Relief will fight to get you the best deal possible, protecting your paycheck and your assets from IRS collections. But don't delay, because the IRS is tacking on interest and hefty penalties every single day. So don't wait until it's too late. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-748-5713. 800-748-5713. 800-748-5713.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Nationally ranked Navy and Kansas State will meet for the first time ever at this year's AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and you'll want to be there as well. Plus, American Idol winner, country music star Scotty McCreery will perform at halftime. It's all happening December 31st at 2:45 in the afternoon. Get your tickets today by calling the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at 795-7700. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave Woloshin would join us about 4:15, we think, from Dallas at Media Days for the Cotton Bowl with the Tigers football team getting set to play the Penn State Nittany Lions on Saturday morning, 11 o'clock kickoff. Also, there's a basketball game Saturday. The 10-1 Tigers play Jackson State Saturday at noon at FedEx. They play New Orleans at 12:30 this Saturday at 12:30 at FedEx Forum. Tigers against New Orleans, and then the game on Monday against Tulane before the first Saturday of the new year against Tom Crean's Georgia Bulldogs. The Tiger basketball just kind of quietly lurking out there, 10-1 are they. The Grizzlies tonight in Oklahoma City against the Thunder, and on Saturday in Denver against the Denver Nuggets. To talk about it with us, we go inside Hoop City with Tigers great Elliot Perry.
It's time to go inside Hoop City with Grizzlies radio analyst Elliot Perry. Inside Hoop City is sponsored by Campbell Clinic. Each Thursday, the former Tiger great and 10-year NBA player joins Sportstime with Wolo and Stats to talk Tigers and Grizzlies and all things Hoop City. Now, here's Elliot Perry with Wolo and Stats.
Happy holidays, Elliot Perry. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy holidays to you as well, Stats. Doing well?
Doing very well, and it's not been many times in either of our lives that Tiger basketball, for a little while, has to take a little bit of a back seat to the Tiger football team in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. I think it's a great thing, but Tiger basketball is not going anywhere, 10-1 and rolling pretty good.
Absolutely, yeah. First of all, let me say congratulations to the football team. I mean, obviously, everybody's looking forward to the game on Saturday. So praying that they, in their transition, that they have an opportunity to win that game. And then looking at the Tigers basketball team, hey, look, you deal with adversities, you deal with obstacles. I think Penny is used to situations like this, and so he has his team ready to play. And I know they'll be ready to play on Saturday.
Elliot, in the preseason, we did all these predictions, and for Tiger basketball, I was 27-4 through the 31 regular season games. So far, I was wrong on. I had a win over Oregon, and I had that's it. I had a win over Tennessee. I had to correct myself during the break. So I had them undefeated to this point. First loss for me was Wichita State when they play after the new year begins in conference. I'm trying to get to this point, Elliot. Even with the loss of James Wiseman and the injury to Quinones, I'm not changing. There's not anything big I want to change on win-loss total. This is still a 25 North win team, isn't it?
Oh, no question about it. I think they gained a lot of perspective. They gained a lot of confidence. They learned a lot about themselves, not having Wiseman. The times that they've not had him, they've come out and played really good basketball, top-notch basketball. And I think, they'll continue to do that. I think now they know for sure that they won't have James Wiseman back. And so they're going to continue to go out and band together, play together. And I think that's really the motto Penny is really trying to convey to his team is, look, it's just us against the world. We have to do it together. We can't do it individually. And you're seeing different guys on different nights have big games. You're seeing them band down the stretch and being able to play good basketball in the last 3 to 5 minutes in both halves. And I think that's a testament to Penny and his coaching staff.
One more non-conference game. That game is Saturday at 12:30 at FedEx Forum. The football game is going to be on the ribbon boards and all through the concourses at FedEx Forum for people that want to keep up with everything going on in the Cotton Bowl with the Tigers and Penn State. But after that, then into conference play against Tulane, then one more non-conference game against Georgia on the first Saturday of the new year, and then it'll be all conference action the rest of the way for Coach Hardaway's team. Right now, Elliot, what do you think's the strength of the team?
What I said before, I think togetherness. This is a team that, you can't pinpoint one guy like you mostly can probably pinpoint James Wiseman if he was playing. He would be the focal point of both defenses and offensive, opposing defenses and offenses. And so, I just think that the strength of this team is to do it together. You have, somewhat veteran guards in Tyler Harris and Alex Lomax, even though they've only had 1 year of experience. But you seeing that they're playing with more confidence. They're playing down the stretch more. Penny's having those guys in, and they've really become the leaders of this basketball team. And then everything else that's is just really talent. I mean, any one of those guys could have a big game on any given night. And so the strength of this team is, again, as far as I'm concerned, is togetherness.
I'm with you, and it looks like this is kind of the thing for every team, unless you ran into somebody, knocked down 8 or 9 or double-digit made threes, that's kind of hard. That's kind of hard to beat. But if you can keep from doing that, I think the defense has been solid enough to keep them in every game. And then on the offensive end, if Tyler Harris makes 2 or 3 threes and the team makes 6 or 7 threes, I don't know who in American Athletic Conference will beat them.
Yeah, honestly, I think they have the ability to make 6 or 7, 8 threes a night. I mean, when Lester gets back, fully healthy. I mean, we saw at the beginning of the year, he's a guy that really can stretch the floor. We know what Tyler can do. He's a streaky shooter. If he comes in and he's hot, I mean, he can knock down 3, 4, 5 threes by himself. But I also think that they have other guys who can knock down threes. Bob's shown that he can knock down some threes at times. Alo has taken a couple of threes at times. And so I think this is a team that, on a consistent basis can make anywhere from 7 to 10 threes on any given night. But I think the one thing that they've done consistently is defend. And that's something that they're going to have to continue to do. And then they're going to have to rebound the basketball.
And defense travels, doesn't it?
Absolutely, no question about it.
In football, they say defense in a running game travels in college basketball. On a night that you can't get it done with your offense unless your defense create your offense. And the Tigers cruised last time out by 28, 77, 49 over Jackson State to get to 10-1 on the year. The outside shooting for a lot of teams in college basketball seems to be the weakest spot for some teams. But like we just talked about, we're not talking about having to make 10 or 11 threes a night to win. Just 5 or 6 or 7 will really keep them close.
Yeah, in college basketball, I think you can make 5, 6, 7 threes. I mean, it's not like the NBA. You don't have as many possessions because you don't have the amount of time. But you're not shooting in terms of the volume of threes like NBA teams are now. I mean, most NBA teams are really, focusing in on analytics, threes over twos. So you're seeing a third of most NBA teams' shots are 3-point shots. And so you can see as many as, you take Houston, you can see as many as 50, 51 3-point shots in any given game. I know that's that's a lot for Houston, but I would say most NBA teams are averaging somewhere in the 30s. And so, in college, you don't shoot that many. You don't have that many possessions.
Because of the time.
Absolutely. And this is a team, I think, Stash, that can go inside out, too. I mean, we talk about the 3-point shooting, but also they have the talent on the inside that can also get you baskets as well.
Elliot, I knew it before the NBA came to town, but I don't know that I really appreciated the fact of, first of all, grown men, professionals at their trade, the very best in the world in what they do versus a young college guy, and that 48-minute game versus 40. That's a lot of difference.
Yeah, and to the problem, most people it doesn't sound like a lot. I mean, that's 8 minutes, but it is a lot in terms of when you think about timeouts, in terms of the amount of other shots that you can get up, in terms of more defensive possessions that defense and offensive possessions that happen. And so 8 minutes is a lot. But you also think about it's a more physical game. It's a more probably engaging game in terms of the athletes and the guys that you're going to have to guard and defend against. And just I think the overall game plans of NBA teams. I mean, some nights it's inside-out game. Some nights it's, you're playing Golden State where they're shooting mostly threes, them, Houston. But then you go play a team like a Denver who, most of their offense is generated from the inside out. They're depending on their big guy. Then you go play Portland, and it's guard-heavy with the 2 guards that they have.
We're going inside Hoop City. We do it every Thursday this time with Elliot Perry. And, Elliot, are you on the road with the Grizzlies?
No, I'm not.
Tonight they are on the road in Oklahoma City after getting blasted at home on Monday night on Christmas Eve after a great win on Saturday over Sacramento, 11 up, 20 down. Kind of Saturday to Monday showed kind of the up and down nature of this very young team, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that there would be a lot of volatility in this team. And I like to say that, we had low expectations and not no expectations. We do have expectations for this basketball team, but if, low expectations. I think we won 11 games, and I consider that ahead of schedule. We could easily have won probably 3 or 4 more games. I mean, you look at the last game we played in Oklahoma City, we were up by 20-plus points. They came back in the third and fourth quarter in the second half and won that game. We were right there with the Cleveland team. We probably could have won that game with some minor adjustments. But again, down the stretch, we don't have enough experience down the stretch to be able to win basketball games like that. Sometimes you just run out of ammunition. I love that they came back and responded against Sacramento team, and the other night they just didn't have it. So tonight is another opportunity to go to Oklahoma City and see really if they can make those adjustments that they didn't make when they played in Oklahoma City a couple of weeks ago.
Elliot, I'm with you. I think way ahead for the season. My season win total was 22. Well, they're halfway home with that with the 11.
Right.
And barring injury, I think they will blow through the 22 and maybe even get through the Vegas number of 27 and a half, maybe even through 30. And I'm not ruling out maybe mid-30s if everything really went well.
Yeah, if everything goes right for this team, again, health plays a part. You talked a little bit about that. But I think really just kind of finding who they are. I think that's what they're trying to do now, is really define their identity. Who are we going to be? You see that they're spacing the floor more. They're shooting a lot of threes. I think their role players are really entrenched in their roles, and they understand their role now. And then Jaren is playing much better. Valanciunas is playing much better. And obviously, Ja and Brandon Clark, those four guys. And I'll tell you, Stat, I mean, the unsung hero of this season has been really Dylan Brooks. I mean, I think he's played fantastic, putting the ball in the hole and then really also being that defensive stopper.
Yeah, when he goes well, it makes it easier. It's never easy, but he makes it easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And he has stepped up to be a reliable guy. And he's a little bit like Alex Lomax and Tyler Harris. He's not one of the grand old men yet, but he's becoming it.
Yeah, but I love his approach. I talked to him a lot before some of the games, and his approach is trying to find consistency on both ends of the floor. And very seldom do you have that, two-way player where a guy who can put points on the board for you. He's handling the basketball much better. You can tell his dribbling skills have improved a lot. He's running more pick and roll, so that gives the guy an opportunity to the ball. And then defensively, he's having to guard some of the best players night in and night out. Now, we do have other guys who can defend. I mean, Jay Crowder can defend. Solomon Hill is another guy that really can defend. And so, but Dylan has taken the bulk of those minutes in terms of defending the best guys on the floor.
So far on the night of the good news that you were there for, you brought the good luck for the lottery to the draft pick actually being made to camp to right now. If you had scripted everything from that night sitting on that stage through 31 games for Ja, it's gone according to or better than the script, hadn't it?
Oh, it's gone better. I think a lot of people knew that he could play, and really a lot of the pundits that watched him play a lot understood that, hey, this guy he's something special. A lot of other people who probably hadn't watched him play a lot just was looking at where he came from and at playing at a smaller school at Murray State thought, could this guy really play in the NBA at the level he was playing at Murray? He's come in and shown that I think he's even better than most people thought.
Yeah, the Grizzlies tonight, as we mentioned, in Oklahoma City, then on Saturday in Denver, and rounding out the rest of this calendar year, one more game at home against Charlotte. Then the new year starts with a tough road trip at Sacramento, at the Clippers, at Phoenix, and then a long run at home. Basically, the rest of the month of January at home at FedEx Forum, including on Monday, Dr. Martin Luther King Day, the game at 4 o'clock against New Orleans. At the end of January, you can really sit down and the front office will be able to decide if it's any hope of going for it. I think it will be decided after that long home stretch in January.
Yeah, I think they'll start to look at where they are and start to make those tough decisions on whether to make some moves, whether not to make some moves on, or hold guys out. But again, I think it's one of those situations where you can't really look at it from that perspective. Like I said before, it's low expectations for this basketball team. Obviously, you go out there night in and night out. You want to win games. I mean, that's why you play the game, is you want to win. But the expectations is not to make the playoffs for this team. And if that happens, again, you count it at all joy. I mean, it happened, but I think they've done a really, really good job of putting this team together so far. I think they are definitely not done. And if you're back in the lottery again, I mean, they give you another opportunity to get another good player.
High marks for the front office and for the first-year head coach, Taylor Jenkins. Talking about things going to script, it has for them. And they had a big charge in front of them, but so far I think they have definitely earned a high grade.
Absolutely. And then you think about this. I mean, we always talk about the product that's out on the floor. I mean, obviously we have a young team, but we still have to remember we have a first year head coach as well. I think Taylor has done a really good job.
Yeah, and that's not easy. There's a real acclimation for him. I mean, when you keep moving over a spot on that bench, it gets tougher.
Oh yeah, yeah. My good friend Darryl Walker used to tell me that moving over just one seat it's a world of difference.
It is a world of difference. I love Darryl Walker. You talking about a lockdown defensive guy in college? He could play some defense.
Oh, he was hard nosed too. I mean, he would fight you. He was scrap.
Chicago guy. He would
play
fight
good,
you.
Tough defense. Yeah, tough hard-nosed Chicago guy.
He sure was. Went to high school at a high school in Chicago, and the name of it's Corliss High School. And one time I was kidding with him. I said, "Who knew that you would go to high school in Chicago? It later would become maybe Arkansas's greatest player's name for Corliss Williamson." He got a kick out of that. I love Darryl Walker. And those guards, when he was at Arkansas, his running mate was Alvin Robertson. You talking about two tough guys.
Ooh, you're talking about two tough, hard-nosed defensive guards. And Alvin Robertson, I mean, most people always talk about his defense. He can score the ball as well. I mean, he made a couple of All-Star teams.
Sure could, and was a part of the '84 gold medal winning team, and one time didn't back down from a scrap with Shaq. I don't know how smart that was.
Oh, he's not going to back down from anybody. I don't know if you've ever been around Alvin Robertson, but I mean, the way you see him play out on the court, I mean, he's probably the same way in person. If he's on the golf course, if he's playing marbles or whatever, he's going to play it to tough.
Elliot, yesterday was a really good day for the NBA, and it has been a tough start to this year. It started with the China controversy, but yesterday, I think for a lot of people, the reboot and re-energize for the year ahead, and you saw it on display with the stars, with the teams, with the battle that's going to be in that building between the Clippers and the Lakers.
Oh, no question about it. It was a fantastic game. I think they both played really good basketball. The Lakers being up 15 points, but I mean, it just shows you the resilience of the LA Clippers and Doc Rivers. He's done a really good job of getting these guys to believe that we're always in basketball games, and they are because they have enough ammunition. And when I talk about that, I mean, you think about the game that Kawhi had. You got Paul George who could put the ball in the hole. Obviously, we know about Lou coming off the bench. Montrezl Harrell is probably the second best sixth man in the league, and then they also have the defensive guys too.
They do.
And Patrick Beverly that played down the stretch. He made the other night, and so I just think that their depth right now gives them the advantage in a lot of different ways. Not to say that they will win it, but I think if they stay healthy, they're going to be the team you're going to have to go through in the Western Conference.
Elliot, seriously, we talked about Darryl Walker and Alvin Robertson from Arkansas. In a lot of ways, Patrick Beverly's got a lot of them in him.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, he went to Arkansas.
Yeah, but I mean, I just think he the one thing about Patrick Beverly is he's consistent night in and night out. You can't value him with putting points on the board, even though he can knock down 3-point shots if he's open. But his defense and his energy is contagious. It's much like a Tony Allen. If he scores 2 points, that's okay, either because he's going to have an impact on the game. And so I think they depend on that because you can put him on anybody. You saw it down the stretch again, playing LeBron James. I mean, you can put him on some of the best players. We saw him last year in the playoffs play KD. I mean, so he's a guy that's going to come out there and give max effort night in and night out.
Elliot Perry, thank you so much for being with us today. Continue happy holidays for you and into 2020. And the best part of basketball will be after we get together starting next week with the Tigers into January and with the Grizzlies. We appreciate you so much. Thank you, Elliot.
Man, happy holidays, and I appreciate it.
You got it. Elliot Perry talking basketball with us. Every Thursday we go inside Hoop City. Down in Dallas at Media Days today, the voice of the Tigers joins us now. Dave Wolo, I'm glad you made it to the Cotton Bowl. The yellow brick road led to Jerry's World, didn't it?
Oh my gosh, it is incredible. I don't know. Should I go see this Queen tribute band tonight? I got Miranda Lambert for tomorrow. I got a hospitality room that's open all night with food and drink. This is really the toughest. Seriously, I thought about this today as I sat down in the hospitality room after arriving here and seeing everything that's out there, and I went, I don't know if I can go back to the Birmingham Bowl.
Yeah, it makes for it to look. It makes all of them look pale in comparison with the hospitality. And I did tell you, you told me today you couldn't believe that your door-to-door access that they have for you, it's car service. It's unbelievable how they treat you.
It is. I
did tell you
so
you had that.
I have to rush after this show. We're doing a little special for the network, a Ryan Silverfield special at the Sports Bar here. And, I was worried about how I was going to do it, and they just said, well, what are you worried about? You just go get your driver.
Yep.
And they got young college kids from all over the state of Texas that come and do it. It is phenomenal. The hospitality and the details that they go through. Last night in this hotel, I have no idea what they were doing for Penn State, but in this hotel, which is the Gaylord, which is a city unto itself, they, for the players and the wives and everybody in the Cotton Bowl party, they had a game of bingo. Now, this is Christmas night, right?
Yeah.
Game of bingo, $5,000 worth of prizes that they just ended up. I mean, it's incredible. And in this Gaylord hospitality room, there are these giant walls of Memphis Tiger football graphics. And when this is over, they give it to the school. They ship it on their dime to the school. I mean, there is a level of class that, and I covered this one in 85, a Cotton Bowl. It's up to another level now.
Yeah.
And even those guys said when they got to the college football playoff stage, everybody went way up.
Now old Hoss Brock, he did a good job with that bowl, but Rick
He
Baker
did.
and Michael Conradi and
he did.
And have you met Charlie Fish yet with the media relations team?
I have not yet. I've not had a chance
Great
to meet
guy.
you. Well, I literally didn't get here till about 1, and I went pretty much here, grabbed a quick bite of eat, saw that hospitality room, heard a few stories, and then went into meetings with coaches, and from that I came up here to do this show, and then we're going to the sports bar to do another one tonight. So it's busy, but it's a lot of fun.
Now one bit of news out of media days when asked that Brady White did not rule out the possibility of not returning next year to the University of Memphis. What I would tell fans, Dave, is to enjoy Saturday, and we'll let 2020 and the start of next year fall out starting at about 3 o'clock on Saturday. But I would try to enjoy the game as much as anything. Can you clarify or know more about that?
I can. I can clarify a little bit because I talked to Ryan Silverfield. Because trust me, when he said it, my phone blew up from people asking about him and Riley Patterson, who's okay, and everything else. And so the bottom line is he was asked if he would be back next year, and he said, I don't know yet. And then he went on and clarified and said, I'm not transferring. Because that was
there's
sort
clarity.
of somebody, there was the rumor that he was going to follow Dillingham, who he still talks to a bunch, and Norvell, who, loves him, that he would follow them possibly to Florida State. He's a grad student, and he could possibly do that. I don't even know if he really can, because I think he's already transferred here. He was already maybe a grad student. I'm not 100% certain on that. I talked to his parents after the championship game with Norvell leaving, and they told me he would be back in Memphis next year. Now, he has spoken to me on several occasions talking about how he is going to be an NFL player. So in his mind, he is going to be an NFL football player. Now, is he going to go try to do that this year? That's the big question, because that's what he said. He came back and clarified and said, I would not be transferring to another school, but I might try and see what my pro options might be. I don't think he is on anybody's draft board that I know of now. And, he might go through a pro day and not sign with an agent. But my best guess, and it's a guess, but my best guess, talking to his parents and knowing where he would be on the draft board, is that he'll come back for another year.
That sounds great. Dave Woloshin on the road with the Tigers. He'll call the game Saturday morning. He's with us. You're with us until when, Dave?
I'm with you until about 5.
Until about 5. When we come back, we'll visit with Russell Copeland, talk all things NFL. I think, Dave, you've evened up the wager front with him on a couple of stakes. We'll talk with Russell about the NFL as it heads into the final weekend. Most of the playoff spots set, but there's still some intrigue. We'll do that next. Russell Copeland on the NFL with us. This is Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find real sports talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
The construction reduction event is on at Wolf Chase Honda. Exciting changes are in the works and inventory must be reduced. Get the best deals right now on all remaining 2019 Hondas while they last. Every new car, every certified, every used car, price to go. Get pre-approved now at wolfchasehonda.com. Wolf Chase Honda is expanding and our prices are dropping. Don't miss these savings. Act now. This huge construction reduction event ends soon.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family-owned since 1981.
I almost never go to Central Barbecue without running into somebody I know.
That could be because you only eat at Central Barbecue.
It's because Central Barbecue is where Memphians go to get barbecue and has consistently been voted the most popular barbecue restaurant among locals.
Actually, that's really saying something.
I know. Memphis is the nation's capital of barbecue. With all the choices, people who live here go to Central Barbecue.
They do get their share of tourists.
Sure, because Central Barbecue has been mentioned on TV and in tons of national publications. You know why?
Because of the great food?
Because those TV shows and magazines look for the place where the locals go, and that, my friend, is Central Barbecue.
Haul packages for a living? A gas-powered Mercedes-Benz Sprinter delivers. Transport people? A Sprinter van with 0% financing is a 5-star idea. If food delivery is your thing, then a gas Sprinter caters to you. And if you're a general contractor, the Sprinter with 0% financing nails it. With innovation, safety, and technology, Sprinter is built for you. And it's built for your bottom line with 0% financing. The Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, starting at just $33,790. And for a limited time with IRS Section 179, you could be eligible for up to a $25,000 tax deduction. Gas engine, 0% financing, and a possible tax deduction? Now that's a Sprinter that delivers. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
MSRP excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep fee. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms. Only valid on 2018 or 2019 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter vans excluding cab chassis. Qualified commercial customers only. Financing offer valid through January 2nd, 2020. Consult your tax advisor for more information. Limits may apply. Visit mbvans.com.
And the coach calls timeout.
Wait a minute, you can't call timeout when you have leaks and Mother Nature is roaring through your home.
A technical foul from outer space may be in order.
Don't know about that, but we can measure your roof from outer space at BrianElderRoofing.com.
So if you need repairs or wondering if you think you may have a claim,
call me before you call your insurance company. And we've got 0% interest for 60 months with approved credit. We won't try to sell you a new roof if all you need is a repair.
My friend Chris Price, a longtime donor of the U of M. Call him, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
God bless America, Penny and Mike, and go Tigers.
And now back to the game.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Sports 56 and 87.7 FM. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Thank you very much. Under the watchful eye of Carl Morrison and Zach Boyd, doing a great job, guys. The day after Christmas, we hope everybody's enjoying this December 26th. We'll go back to Dallas with Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Tigers. He's there getting set for the biggest game in Tigers football history. Every week at this time, we talk the NFL with Russell Copeland, but we got to start there. And a proud former Tiger that he is, out there really, in the 90s, laying the groundwork for this great program, had on some really good teams, couldn't get the breakthrough that this team got this year, but they got it. Russell Copeland, Dave's with us from Dallas. I know you are as proud as you can be of your beloved Tigers in the Cotton Bowl.
Definitely very excited for this football team. They have done a tremendous job this entire year, and just having the most wins in the history of the school, 12 wins, and trying to add on to that. And just when you look at what this program has won in the past 6 or 7 years to where it is now, it's just remarkable. And I think I'm speaking for all former players and also former coaches who always wanted to be on this stage. But now, since we're on this stage, playing on a big stage, playing at 11 o'clock with some championship games playing after us, I just think it's remarkable.
Russell, for one route, do you think you could suit up in one skinny slant?
Well, you probably can get me on the goal line with a back shoulder fade, maybe 2 yards.
I guarantee you he would make that catch and he'd get yak, no question about it. But the game between Penn State and Memphis is going to come down to how the Tigers do in the trenches. To me, the biggest key in this game will be, can Memphis's offensive line keep out the best 7 that we've probably seen in a number of years? So, Russell, you're working without your starting right tackle. He's not going to be able to play in the game. You're going to use a guy, Brian Thomas, who's had all of 7 snaps this year. How tough is that one going to be? How do you break down the Tigers and Penn State in the Cotton Bowl?
It's going to be very tough, and as you mentioned, Dave, I think the physicality is going to be the main thing. But one thing you cannot overemphasize, do not get into a punching match with a puncher. And I think there's going to be some times where the offensive line is going to have to be physical. But I think in order for Memphis to win this football game, they're going to have to be able to win with finesse, agility, speed, and quickness, and especially on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, spread the Penn State out, spread their linebackers out. And I like to set when you have 2 running backs in the backfield, whether it's going to be Gibson and Gainwell, whether it's Patrick Taylor and Gainwell, and then motion some of those guys out to be able to get mismatched with their linebackers, hit them with some quick passes. Get your quarterback on the outside, get the football out of his hands, and get the ball into the playmakers. Because if you go up to this team for 4 quarters on a physical standpoint, I don't think that the University of Memphis can hold up from a physical standpoint.
Yeah, you're going to have to finesse them a little bit, but there will be times in short yardage that you're going to just bow up against that stout front 7. The back 4 for Penn State, I think, a little more vulnerable, but that front 7, it may be among the elite group, especially that front 4, Dave. It may be among the elite group in all of college football. NFL on Sunday, 8 noon games, 7 games in the 3 o'clock window, 1 game on Sunday night, no Saturday games this weekend, no Monday night game. Last weekend of the year, 17th week of the NFL. Most of the playoff positions are set. 1 remaining in the AFC. It'll either be Tennessee or the Steelers. There's a little bit of jockeying for seed position, but in the NFC, only one real question, only one remains, and that's who will win the NFC East. Russell, who will win the NFC East?
Well, after last week, I actually thought the Dallas Cowboys would come out and win that football game, and I think it was a tremendous job of what the Philadelphia Eagles did and what Doug Peterson had his football team ready to play. When you look at the Eagles roster, they had 11 guys that was on injured reserve. I thought Dallas was the better, healthier team, but Doug Peterson did what I said from a physical standpoint. He got his quarterback outside the pocket, and his young players made some plays. I think the Eagles now, for the past month, they've been playing playoff football. I think they will go into this last game against the Giants, which will be a tough game. I think Saquon Barkley is back healthy. He'll try to run the football. Jones will try to throw the football around the yard. But I think overall, Philly has the momentum. They win the NFC East.
So do you think that the Cowboys have the chance to beat Washington? I'm trying to remember. Are those games at the same time?
They do play at the same time. I do think Dallas will handle their business against Washington. When you look at Washington, they simply have not been able to do it from an offensive standpoint. They haven't been able to be healthy on the offensive line. The running backs has been in and out. The quarterback situation has been up and down. Defensively, they've been giving up a lot of points. I think Dallas does handle their business, but I think Philadelphia is in the driver's seat. All they have to do is beat the Giants. That's not easily said. It's easier said than done. But I think Philly has the momentum now. And honestly, Dave, I thought the Cowboys had this game won. I did not think the Eagles had any chance to win that football game with all the injuries that they had decimated. But you have to be able to get this football team a lot of credit. Over the past month, they've been winning football games. They've been playing hard. Carson Wentz has been leading a bunch of young receivers, practice squad receivers, and making plays. And I think that has done very well for them. They'll do what they need to do to beat the Giants.
Russell, this is probably a question I'd really need to ask you the first time we visit in August of 2020. But I'm going to ask you today, going forward in the NFC East, tell me the quarterback that you really trust. Is it the second-year quarterback in New York out of Duke for the Giants? Will it be Carson Wentz that has been good when he's in there, but he's been out a lot with injury? Is it Dak Prescott, or is it the young guy from Ohio State, Haskins, with Washington?
Well, Dak Prescott has definitely put up some outstanding numbers this year. The knock that I have on Dak Prescott is that when the games are big and they're meaningful games when I'm saying teams are over 500, teams that are in playoffs, I don't think he makes enough plays. The knock on Carson Wentz is he simply cannot stay healthy. I think when he stays healthy, I think he's the better of those two quarterbacks. Give me Carson Wentz. He has the big contracts. When healthy, if he stays healthy for 16 games, you see the strong arm, and you see how he won a meaningful game with some receivers that doesn't anyone know. Give me Carson Wentz.
Any of you guys sad, upset that in this meaningless game for the New York Giants that they're going with Daniel Jones over Eli? Clearly the last game for Eli. I know it's not at home, but would you have liked to have seen that game, seen Eli play one last time?
Russell?
I definitely would. When Jones was hurt the past 2 or 3 weeks and Eli had an opportunity to come in, he looked great. The team rallied around him. And if you look at it, he has not played as many games as Jones, but he's been more effective. If you look at his stats and you look at his touchdown percentage, he's played very well. I would love for the crowd, for everyone to be able to see him in a Giants uniform one more time, because if you look at it, they're not going to the playoffs, okay? And I think he gives them just as much of a chance to win as Daniel Jones.
And it's at home, but we really kind of did our goodbyes 2 weeks ago in the win over the Dolphins, and it ended with him winning and evening up his all-time starting record at 500, and it ended well, and with the hugs from the family and his friends there. I wonder how they'll approach it late in the game. Would they put him in mop up, win or lose, or in a one possession game? Would he come in and maybe mar that 2 weeks ago celebration of what felt like the end?
Well, for me, that would be a slap in the face. I think what he has done for this franchise, either you start him in his last game, you simply do not put the guy in just towards the end of the game to mop it up. I think he means too much to this franchise. But I think the biggest question now is when you look at Eli Manning, it's in his hands. Do he want to continue playing football? Do he want to go somewhere such as a Kurt Warner did later on in his career and have an opportunity to go to a championship and win a Super Bowl? I think that's going to be the biggest issue. Or is he ready right now to hang him up?
Did you guys catch the great piece today at ESPN.com by Ian O'Connor about Eli Manning? Did either of y'all read that?
I glanced at it for a second. I did not have a chance to read it, but I love O'Connor, so I'm not surprised. I agree with Russell totally. If you don't start Eli, why play him?
Right. I agree with that. But in that piece, it was a really good story from after he won his first Super Bowl. And there's somewhere, just to toast the town, they've had the parade through the Canyon of Heroes, and they're at a restaurant, and the late, great Yogi Berra is there, and they did a New York number together, with karaoke and having a good time. And Eli Manning, in his very soft style, said, "Boy, New York really likes you after you win one." He goes, "Yeah, they do." He goes, "I won 5 in a row." So, but baseball being a little different, especially in those times. But Yogi Berra, quite the winner, and Eli Manning, quite the winner. What other games are you watching for playoff seeding volatility on Sunday, Russell?
Well, I am going to be looking at the Patriots and the Dolphins simply because of where the Patriots are sitting at number 2 and Kansas City is number 3. The Patriots have to win out, and Kansas City has to win. If the Patriots lose, Kansas City jumps them to move into the number 2 spot. And also, when you look at the Vikings and the Bears, looking at that, but the Vikings are going to be at the number 6 spot regardless. I think a big game to watch is going to be the Saints and the Panthers, because when you look at them with the Seahawks now have signed Marshawn Lynch, and they're sitting down at number 5. If they win the football game, they move up to number 1. San Francisco goes to number 5. And then you have the Green Bay into that mix. So all of those games there, I'll be looking on to see where does Seattle stand. Do number 1 and number 2 stay as far as San Francisco and Green Bay? Does the New Orleans Saints move from number 3? Other than that, the rest of them will stay the same because we've already talked about Philly and Dallas. It'll either be Philly or Dallas. And the number 5 will be one of those Lukes that's at the top. So I think that's what I'll be looking at the NFC picture more, because the AFC picture is almost pretty much set, except for we look at the Titans pretty much. But the NFC is still up for grabs going into this last week.
You know, we're coming to the end of the decade, so everybody's talking about their all-decade guys, and I don't think anybody could argue that the greatest quarterback in the last 10 years has been Tom Brady. My question, though, is who's going to be the quarterback of the next 10 years? And I'm not going to say that Lamar Jackson isn't the MVP this year, because he is with Baltimore. There's no question what a great story that has been. But for my money, for the next 10 years, and we're looking forward, after I watched him again rip my Bears apart, and just he knows where to go, he knows how to get away. He's Patrick Mahomes, I think, is the next Tom Brady-like player. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, you just threw two names. Patrick Mahomes, if you look at it, I mean, he does so many great things. He throws the football from so many different angles. He gets outside of the pocket. He can run when he has to. He has a lot of weapons. But when I look at Lamar Jackson, if Lamar Jackson can stay healthy, we've never seen a football player to be able to pass the football and throw the football what he has been able to do this year. He's leading the NFL in touchdowns. He has 33 touchdowns. He has 2 perfect games of quarterback ratings of 158. If you had to ask anyone when he was drafted at number 32, you asked anyone last year when he played in the playoff game against the San Diego Chargers, would he be the MVP this year, and would he be leading the league in touchdown passes? I think no. If he can stay healthy and they can continue to get offensive linemen and continue to build weapons around him, this young man right here can rearrange and change the quarterback position.
Who wins between the Titans, the visitor, on Sunday in Houston at NRG Stadium, 3:25 kick?
I give the Titans. I think they have a lot to gain. When you look at the Texans, they're gonna stay where they are. They're not gonna move up. They're gonna stay at number 4. If they win or lose this game, they may rest some people. Them getting their running back. Speaking of the Titans, Henry running the football, being able to get outside and throw. I like what Tannehill has been able to do with the young receiver Brown from Ole Miss. Their defense is lights out. I got the Titans getting to the last seat for the AFC.
All right, both of y'all jump in on this, and we got to do it rapid fire of teams that are going to go to the playoffs or maybe get in this weekend. Y'all tell me, let's go through them, and y'all tell me if it's a go for it, hold the Lombardi Trophy on Sunday night, February the 2nd. Is that right? The Super Bowl? Yeah, I think that's right. On Sunday night, February the 2nd, can they be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy? We'll start in the AFC. Y'all tell me yes or no. Baltimore.
Yes.
Yes.
New England.
Yes.
Yes.
The Chiefs.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree wholeheartedly so far. The Texans.
No.
No.
Buffalo.
No.
No.
Titans or Steelers.
No.
No.
So in the AFC, a legitimate 3 teams can be thinking about winning, and I agree. NFC, Dave's 49ers.
Yes.
Yes.
Dave's Packers. That was a cheap shot, Dave. I'm sorry. Dave, you still there? You didn't hang up on me, did you?
No, I haven't. I'm almost speechless, though, for you. That is sacrilegious right there. That's, my family in Chicago would disown me if they heard you saying anything like that. No, I don't think the Packers.
I don't think so either. The Saints.
Yes.
Yes.
Eagles.
No.
No.
Seattle.
Yes.
Russell?
I say no. I think them losing their running back position and the way they played the past couple of weeks, they're not playing as well as they were playing earlier. Not having a running back and having to rely on just a quarterback is not good for them.
One more, Minnesota.
No.
No.
So the playoffs will start with by our little poll we just did. About 5, maybe 6 teams can really win it. So a lot like college football as it heads into the postseason. About 4 can win it.
Well, only 4 can win it out. That's for sure.
That's right. That's right. Russell, thank you so much. I know you're going to enjoy the game on Saturday. Hope you get to feeling better, too. I know you had to play with a little bit of pain today. We appreciate you, sir, and we will talk to you next Thursday in 2020. Thank you, Russell.
Thank you, guys.
You got it. Russell Copeland.
Thank you, buddy.
Talking NFL with us all year, Dave. When we come back, we got a couple of bowl games to pick. We'll get some final thoughts from you from Big D, where Dave is in Dallas for the Tigers and Penn State on Saturday morning. 11 o'clock game. They'll start bright and early with their pregame early. It'll be festive, and a lot of people heading that way. It started yesterday and another wave today. Big, gigantic tsunami wave tomorrow heading down to Dallas for the biggest game in Tiger football history. When we come back, we do those things, we wrap up hour 2. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
With Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7. Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. For over 25 years, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 has been bringing you great local sports talk. With 13 hours of local talk daily, we continue to be Memphis's local sports leader. The day starts with Keith Parker and Elliot Wender on the press box from 6 to 7, followed by the Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt from 7 to 10. Sports 56 middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy takes you through lunch from 10 until 1. And then, John Harden brings you Johnny Radio's Happy Hour from 1 to 3. Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy drive you home every afternoon with Sports Time with Wolo and Stats from 3 till 6. And John Rennie wraps up the day with Southern Sports Report from 6 to 7 before we turn things over to Fox Sports Radio to get you through the evening. We also bring you Ole Miss sports, NFL football, and the NCAA basketball tournament. Don't miss anything. Keep your radio locked in right here on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Kevin Kugler from Westwood One with the Sunday Night Football preview. Hall of Famer Jason Taylor and I will be in Seattle for the final regular season game when the Seahawks host the 49ers. Both are headed to the playoffs, but the NFC West Division title is still up for grabs. San Francisco's coming off a dramatic win over the Rams, and defensive leader Richard Sherman says their confidence is high.
We never lost confidence throughout the season. Win, lose, or draw. You can't let that, rock your boat. It's just waves. It's just the ocean. So, we've had some bigger waves, but we got some great leadership. We got some great players. We got some poised young guys and some great coaches that quickly steadied the ship.
Seattle won the first meeting in Week 10, but is coming off a loss last week to the Cardinals. Join us for Week 17, 49ers at the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. 30% of Americans who are planning home improvements of $5,000 or more will pay for those renovations with a high-interest credit card. That may not be a great idea. A better idea may be to take cash out of your home with a Quicken Loans 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.18%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.375% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
necessary.
This holiday season, Dodge's gift to you is Employee Pricing Plus. That means everyone gets the same price our employees get on the Dodge Durango. And with Durango's available 475 horsepower, Dodge is here to make every trip a memorable one. So hurry in to the Dodge Big Finish event today to take advantage of Employee Pricing Plus. Offers available in the purchase or lease of a 2020 Dodge Durango or a new 2019 Dodge vehicle, excluding Charger and Challenger. Customer responsible for $200 administration fee. Must take retail delivery by 1/2/20. See dealer for details.
Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Thank you, Carl. We welcome you back. Dave Woloshin in Dallas with the Tigers. We've got a couple of bowl games to pick real quickly, 3 before we meet again tomorrow. And then we'll have a bunch tomorrow afternoon at 5:30 in our first National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast. So far, Dave, favorites are 6 wins, 4 losses in the bowl season. Over is 6 wins, unders 3, and 1 push so far. The team that's outrushed the other one, 8-2. The team that's outpassed the other one, continuing the theme of the year, not that far behind, 7-3. We both, all 3 of us had Louisiana Tech plus the 6.5 over Miami in the Independence Bowl, and they lead 7-0. So we have 13.5 points there to work with tomorrow. The Quick Lane Bowl, Pitt minus 11.5 over Eastern Michigan. Might be a little bit of a home field advantage in Detroit for Eastern Michigan, but they're a heavy underdog. Dave, who do you take, Pitt minus 11.5 or Eastern Michigan plus?
Ypsilanti, Michigan is not that far from Detroit. It is a home field advantage. 11.5, too much. I think Pitt wins, but I like the points. Give me Eastern Michigan.
Dave, I'm with you on the 11.5, and I'm going to call the straight-up upset 24-23. Eastern Michigan gets the win. Drew takes Pitt minus the 11.5. Do you realize on this date, 14 years ago, we were at Ford Field on December 26, 2005, for the last game of D'Angelo Williams?
I was just going to say, I remember seeing D'Angelo, Jimmy Sexton, and Rugg in that tunnel as we were all leaving with big smiles on our faces, knowing we had just watched the greatest Memphis football player say goodbye.
And he was no longer a pro with that meeting. Another game tomorrow, the Military Bowl. Mac Brown in his first year, they're 4.5-point favorites, North Carolina over Temple. Drew takes Temple from the American. I'm going to take Temple from the American plus the 4.5. I've got Temple winning this game straight up. Dave, your pick.
Well, I'd like to see that, but the American hasn't done so well in these. They're 1-1 at least at this point in bowls. They didn't do so well last year. North Carolina, they should have beaten Clemson earlier this year. I'm only giving away 4.5. Temple can't score a whole lot. I'll take North Carolina.
And in the final game at I'm sure a cold Yankee Stadium, it's just got to be this time of year, the Pinstripe Bowl. Good idea, I think. Just like next year with the bowl game going to Fenway, I think Michigan State 4.5-point favorite over Wake Forest. This is a Big Ten against ACC. I'm going to take Wake plus the 4.5. Drew takes Michigan State laying the 4.5. Dave, your pick.
I am a big believer in that coach at Wake Forest. I think he is good.
I am too.
I don't think Michigan State's a very good football team, and there really is no home field advantage at Yankee Stadium. So I will take Wake Forest in this game. Give me the points.
I thought a little bit of a QUIT factor for Michigan State down the stretch of the year.
I agree.
I think Wake Forest wins the game. We'll take the points. We'll have a lot of picks tomorrow. Dave, you have a good night tonight in Dallas. Are you with us tomorrow at all?
I will try for a little bit, and I'll let you know exactly when. I don't have quite the lay of the land yet.
That's fine. Whenever, whatever. But you enjoy this historic game in Dallas and the festivities. Thank you, Dave.
Merry Christmas to you, and I know I'll speak to you before, but Happy New Year too.
Thank you, Dave. We'll visit again for sure. Dave Woloshin on the road with the Tigers at the most important game in Tiger football history. No, not must win. No, not downtrodden if it was a loss, but think about if it's a win over mighty Penn State. Hour 3 when we come back, and we'll go back to Dallas and talk more about this game with Stephen Hawkins from the Associated Press. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
If
If it's time for a new gun, rifle, or silencer, Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville on Highway 72 is the best place to go. I promise they have the newest, most exciting selection of guns and silencers you could ever want. I don't care if you shoot for fun, hunt, or just need a gun for personal protection, Tactical Guns and Gear has the best selection of firearms around. The only one-stop silencer shop in Tennessee. In less than 10 minutes, they do all the paperwork. Take your photo, originate gun trust, take your prints electronically, and the best part, you never have to scan them again. Yes, silencers are legal. No special licensing, just a simple background check. Silencers don't make your firearms silent. They simply reduce noise for more enjoyable shooting. Help protect against hearing loss. Reduce recoil. It makes you more accurate. Best silencer place in the entire state of Tennessee, right here in Collierville. For all things guns and gear, ask for Jake or Jim at Tactical Guns and Gear on Highway 72 and tell them Eli says hi. Online at tacticalgunsandgear.com.
Pop Wigington has been in the restaurant business since the 70s and has now brought 3 generations of family favorites together under one roof at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's takes you back to a simpler time when food and life was more wholesome. Settle down today for lunch or dinner at Pop's with daily specials like country fried steak, fried catfish, chicken and dumplings, or Pop's famous fried chicken livers, all served up with your choice of 23 fresh vegetables like field peas and snaps, seasoned green beans, sweet corn and turnip greens. Hungry for a sandwich? Check out the Chuck, a hand-patted cheeseburger between 2 grilled cheese buns topped with lettuce, tomato, diced onion, pickles, fried egg, and bacon. Or a half-pound flat iron steak sandwich served on Texas toast. Don't forget one of Grandma's homemade desserts like chess pie or banana pudding. Take comfort today at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's Comfort Kitchen.
Time to put up the tree.
Funny thing about the holidays is nothing flies by faster.
Time for family photos. Time to cut the turkey. Time to open gifts. Time to take down the tree. Happy New Year!
Well, actually, the Lexus December to Remember sales event also goes by fast. That's because for a very limited time, you'll find some of our best offers on our most popular models. But don't wait. Offers end January 2nd. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Lexus of Memphis.
Campbell Clinic now offers daytime walk-in care, and you don't need an appointment. If you've got any kind of urgent break, sprain, strain, you can walk into any of their 5 convenient locations Monday through Friday from 8 until 4. There's no long wait you have to put up with the ER, and those doctors are really good, but they're not orthopedists. They're not world-renowned orthopedists who have come up with different procedures and written the manuals for them that are used everywhere in the world, and I'm not kidding you. And you can now see those doctors who treat the Tigers, the Grizzlies, the Redbirds. You can see them today without an appointment. And I'm talking Collierville, Germantown, South Haven, downtown at the Med Center, or even the Campbell Clinic Spine Center in Cordova. Now, if you've got something pressing, you got to go to work, and you can bear the pain until the evening, there's Campbell Clinic After Hours. That's Monday through Thursday from 5 to 8 in Germantown, South Haven, even Saturday morning in Germantown. If you're injured, don't wait. Visit Campbell Clinic Walk-In Care or Campbell Clinic After Hours.
If you're an outdoorsman and love all things hunting and fishing, be sure to listen to Sports 56 Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. for Outdoors Today. Brought to you by The Gun Store, 6920 Winchester in Memphis. Outdoors Today is a 1-hour show hosted by veteran Mark Tobin and a group of respected outdoor-loving guests. Outdoors Today is dedicated to bringing outdoorsmen tips and techniques and tactics to help with your hunting and fishing in all seasons. Saturday mornings at 6 on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 87.7 and 96.1 FM.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Here once again
are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Thank you very much. This third and final hour every day brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales, where they specialize in late model cars with low mileage. Very high standards at DeSoto Auto Sales. All the cars are test driven and checked out from head to toe. Unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, down-home, laid-back atmosphere. And they know that time really matters, and they want you to have the ultimate car experience walk in within 45 minutes, you test drive your car, you get credit approved, you're gone, and with paperwork completed in less than an hour. They know that we're living in a world today that time matters, and they'll get you in and get you out of there really fast. At 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. You can visit them online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road. One of the mainstays covering the Cotton Bowl every year in Dallas. He works for the Associated Press in Dallas as our next guest. From the AP, it's Stephen Hawkins. You can follow him on Twitter at Hawk AP Texas. And Stephen, I wish I was there with a lot of my friends and good buddies that are there for the Cotton Bowl with the Memphis Tigers there. Good afternoon to you, Stephen. Thank you for joining us.
Well, hello, Brad. It is a shame that you're not joining us in person. I just can't believe you couldn't make the trip here. It's not that long of a trip, man.
The whole radio station's there, it seems like, but me. So somebody had to stay back. And, Stephen, I've had the pleasure of being at 3 Cotton Bowls and far and wide, and I love the bowls, and I've been to some great ones. We have a great one here in Memphis in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, but the Cotton Bowl really does distinguish itself as just top shelf, doesn't it?
I tell you, I'm very fortunate that this is my, quote, home bowl game, that I get to do this every year. Of course, my wife plans this week around the parties that they have. So,
yeah.
I've got to do my job during the day and then, make sure she's happy at night going to the parties, or I get in trouble that way. But, it's a nice balance, but it's a fun balance. But, yeah, they do a tremendous job. The teams are treated just unbelievable, as you know. You've been around, you know what they do. And it's been kind of a different experience the last couple of years with this bowl coming a little bit earlier, so it comes over Christmas with teams here. And I know I was talking to a couple of the coaches today, and the Cotton Bowl did a tremendous job with their families making Christmas feel a little bit like Christmas away from home.
Yeah, and
that takes a lot.
It does. And Stephen, I'm a big defender of the bowls. Yeah, we've got some warts with them. We've got some things to work out. I wish, like heck, the NCAA would quit certifying so many bowl games in this proliferation, but I understand why that happens too. But I defend the bowls, and I guarantee you Memphis Tigers fans, Memphis Tigers media will make lasting friendships with people in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl.
Well, and that's just the kind of people they have running this bowl, and they're just tremendous people from the very top people to the people that help every year. I mean, there are volunteers that come in every year and they work this week. I mean, I see the same people I've seen 15 or 20 years, and it's just tremendous. I might see them once a year, but I feel like I've known them forever.
Exactly. Tell me and I'm sorry, I think his last name is Bradley, and everybody calls him Brad, the official photographer of all things Cotton Bowl. Do you know his story and his background any?
No, not as much as I should. No, but yeah, no. Brad is a tremendous person, but he's around all the time, even though he's not quite the official. He doesn't quite do as much as he used to,
right?
Because he's getting up there a little bit, but he's still around and still smiling all the time.
But always ever present. I love everything about the Cotton Bowl. All right, let's go on the field. We've talked a lot from the Tiger angle, and we've touched on Penn State. I think it starts with the Penn State defensive line. What are some of the storylines you're really going to watch and be writing on from the game Saturday?
Well, I think one of them obviously is the defense, the rushing defense of Penn State. Like you said, the defensive front. They've allowed less than 100 yards a game rushing, and I think they've allowed 2.6 yards per carry. That's pretty stout. That's the best in NCAA. And I think, of course, it's a little different against Memphis because we know that they can throw out of the backfield and all that, but I think that's something to watch because Memphis needs to get a little bit of running game going too, and it's going to be tough against that Penn State. But that's one of the key things I'm looking at. And just in general, I memean, for Penn State, this is their third New Year's Six game in 4 years. This is kind of, quote, old hat for them. But they had a little bit of a disappointing finish after being 8-0. So, they've got something to prove. I don't think they're going to overlook, Memphis in the Group of 5 team. So I think those are kind of a couple of the biggest things right there. It's just one team that we kind of expects to be there every year, and kind of thought maybe they could have done a little bit more against a team that's there for the first time. And I mean, like I've heard you guys say it, I've heard people say it, Memphis' biggest game ever. And having gone to school at Ole Miss, I know that school very well. I know the rivalry of Memphis and Ole Miss. I know how good Memphis has always worked to be. And so I think it's going to be an interesting game for sure.
And Stephen, and they did it the old-fashioned way. Memphis Pure D earned it. They had to start over, a complete start-over reboot coming out of Larry Porter into Justin Fuente. He lost his opening game to Tennessee Martin at Liberty Bowl Stadium. And from there, the cornerstone got laid, and then it merged into Mike Norvell winning. Now, Ryan Silverfield in his first game, you mentioned you know the background of the University of Memphis well, having gone to Ole Miss and being from this area. They have earned it with extraordinary play and the playmakers they have on offense. I think that will be one of the keys to see if they can get those guys out in space against the Big Ten.
Oh, yeah, and that's going to be part of the fun. And like you said, through Mike Norvell and Ryan Silverfield, who's been part of this the whole time. You know, listening to him today, talking to him a little bit today, I'm really impressed with how he's kind of, you know, step forward and moving on. You know, it's kind of building what they've got and keep moving it forward. He knows that there's no satisfaction in where they've gone. But, you know, Memphis to get to the American Athletic Conference Championship game several years in a row, was it 3 years in a row, and to finally make it this far, it says a lot about it just to keep going, keep pushing, keep going. And it does earn it. And what a great payoff to finally get into a group of five and, you know, to represent the group of five in a game like this. I mean, they're going to have a tremendous experience. And you know, if they pull, like I heard you say earlier, it's not a must win for them. I agree with that. But I tell you what a tremendous finish it would be to win this game and to win a Cotton Bowl and to beat a power team like Penn State.
Well, they played with all kind of pressure on them down the stretch of the year because after Temple, after that loss and a disputed call late in that game, after really not playing very well in the first quarter, they had zero margin for error. Every week was that kind of pressure. This is the least pressure-packed game that they've had, heck, maybe since playing Navy in late September in Memphis.
Go out and have some fun. I mean, we've seen what happens in these group of five games. I think group of five teams, since the college football playoff era started, and they've been guaranteed a spot in a New Year's Six game. The group of five's 3-2. I mean, it's not like it's been dominated by the Power Five by any stretch. I think the only time the group of five has been here was 2016 was Western Michigan. You know, PJ Fleck team that they had here. Now they lost that game to Wisconsin, but they put on a pretty good show.
Sure
against
did.
the Big Ten team that year. So.
Yeah, very representative team that day, and you mentioned that 3-2 overall for Memphis to make it 4. I think they have to get out to a really fast start. I don't know that they can afford to play catch up against Penn State.
No, you're right. That's going to be the key that you watch for early on. I mean, you know, get off to a good start, get this offense rolling, get a couple big plays. You know, as we've seen the tendency for Memphis to have some really big plays. They're going to need one or two of those pretty quick to get Penn State kind of back off a little bit and go, whoa, wait, you know, we're in for a good fight here. And you know, they're capable of doing it. You know that as well as I do. You've seen them a lot more than I have. If they can pull off one of those 50, 40-yard plays, I think it'll be a big help early on.
Stephen, I got to see Memphis 2 times this year in person. Opening day against Ole Miss, and in the last game of the year.
I saw that one too.
Yeah, and in the last game of the year in the AAC championship game, they won both of those games by 5 points, but in very different styles. Opening day was kind of 15-10 in the heat, just kind of a grinded out game. Against Cincinnati, it was 29-24, but a 5-point margin, but a lot of offensive weaponry and enough defense to hold off the Bearcats' upset bid and get Memphis into this game. I do, Stephen. I don't like, and I alluded to it earlier. I don't like some of the motivation around some of the bowl games, and I don't like people building in a ready-made excuse if they lose. And through the years, Auburn kind of built in that excuse against Central Florida. Wisconsin kind of had it on ready against Western Michigan a few years ago. I don't like that if Memphis wins, that Penn State, their fans, and maybe even a national narrative would be, well, they didn't care. Bring your own motivation.
Exactly. I think Penn State will do that. I think with Coach Franklin, I don't think he allows them to come in with this mode, and so this mode of hey, if we don't do it, done. I think they have something to prove. I mean, that's a team that was 8-0 at one point and then lost a close game to Minnesota and kind of took another chance of maybe even making it to the playoff. I mean, so I think they would like to finish strong. So yeah, but you're right. There's a lot of that happens. Yeah, we saw that with that Auburn team a couple of years ago, where it almost bit them against UCF. So it is amazing how that happens.
Yeah, the comfortability for James Franklin in that job. 2 coaches removed from Joe Paterno, Bill O'Brien in between those two. Bill O'Brien really drew the toughest task of having to be the guy to go in behind Joe Paterno. But James Franklin seems very at ease, doesn't he?
He does. It's kind of interesting that earlier this year there was talk about whether he would still be there this year, and it wasn't because they didn't want him at Penn State, but that he might get another job. And, of course, he got a new contract extension here in the last few weeks. He's going to be there. He's set for a while, but, yeah, he's done a tremendous job. He's kind of stabilized things. I mean, this is their third New Year's Six game in 4 years. The senior class before that never went to one of these. So that tells you a lot about how the transition's gone and how James Franklin has Penn State kind of back on the normal track of what you would expect from the Nittany Lions, being one of these teams that you see playing this time of year with 10 or 11 wins.
And, Stephen, I think I started our show today. We were off yesterday and on Christmas Eve, so it's been a while, and I'd had some days off, so been a while. And I started with, in the history of college football, if you just went up to about anybody with any halfway working knowledge of college football, it would not take very long if you asked them, rattle off the superpowers of college football. They would get to Penn State pretty quickly, wouldn't they?
They would, exactly. And you would get to the traditional uniforms, and they don't have to be flashy to be good, that kind of stuff. Yeah, they are. It's kind of getting back to that. There was a time, as we were talking just a moment ago, that they kind of wondered if it was slipping away, but I don't think it's slipping away. I think Penn State's still going to stay relevant for a long time in the Big Ten and throughout the nation.
We have a text at our First Bank text line, 67129. Will the the stadium at AT&T Stadium, will the roof be closed for the game on Saturday?
Exactly. It will be closed, especially since there is a very good chance of thunderstorms on Saturday. Yes, it will be closed.
So
I haven't been told that, but I'm going to guess by the weather forecast that it will be closed, which is a shame. It would be fun to be open, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be closed on Saturday.
Yeah, and Ole Miss part of the last game at Fair Park playing against Texas Tech, and in the first game at Cowboy Stadium, I am so glad that the Cotton Bowl has made that easy transition from Fair Park, from the venerable old Cotton Bowl Stadium, to this showplace, to this Taj Mahal of sports stadiums.
It's unbelievable. Well, the Cotton Bowl Stadium, the old Cotton Bowl Stadium's a little busy on New Year's Day this year. There's a hockey ring out there right now.
Yeah.
They're getting ready for the Predators and the Stars to play on New Year's Day. So, yeah, see, I still get to work on New Year's Day, even though the Cotton Bowl's on December 28th. So.
You do get that, and we wondered why the First Responders Bowl had moved to SMU on campus at Gerald Ford Stadium, and I've learned in the last few days the reason the NHL will take over the Cotton Bowl Stadium for the Stars against who?
Predators, Nashville.
Okay.
The Nashville Predators, yeah.
I probably should have known that.
They started laying that prep in that last week, actually. So they've been at it for a little bit. Yeah, they've already got pretty much the format for the ring out there and everything, and they're starting to put the ice down. It's going to be an interesting spectacle for sure. I was kind of hoping it would be 85 degrees just to kind of see what the NHL would do and how it would work. But they're going to get to 58 instead of the 85 next week. So they're going to work out okay.
They'll get a break with it. Will you cover the game at TCU, the bowl game, the Armed Forces Bowl, our First Responder?
I am not doing the First Responder Bowl, but I am doing the game at TCU, the Southern Miss game, when the Southern Miss comes here. So.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good for you to see your old buddies from Hattiesburg, won't it?
Go see Mr. John Cox, who's been doing radio for as long as I can remember.
Yes, sir.
And several other people. Yeah, good man, good group of people.
Really good crew. And against Tulane from the American and the great job that Willie Fritz has done. So that'll be fun on the campus at TCU. I did the New Year's Eve morning one time at the Armed Forces Bowl for Cal and Air Force. Quite a different fan base there, quite opposite between those two. And then the next day did Arkansas and Mizzou at Fair Park at the Cotton Bowl Stadium. I got to ask a Cowboys question. I think we know the answer.
I knew this was going to come.
Oh yeah, you knew it. How much pressure on everybody, from Jerry to Jason Garrett to the team? It's got to be a lot of pressure.
Well, the hard part is everything was lined up so well for them. I mean, this is the first time all season where they have no control over what happens. I mean, yeah, they've got to win their game, but winning their game is not enough, and that's always been kind of what they've fallen back on was, hey, we're still in control. We control our own destiny. We can do this. We can do that. But they've lost 4 or 5. And that's not exactly. I mean, he's having some shoulder or finger issue. I mean, he still played okay. But it's just they don't know what to think right now. I mean, Jerry is almost resigned to the fact. It seems like that what could go bad will go bad. That's kind of what's happened these last few weeks. As optimistic as Jerry Jones has tried to be and wants to be, it just hasn't happened. So it's going to be interesting because they can win that game on Sunday evening, and it might not matter. It'll just be another 8-8 season, which they've seen plenty of those around here, and that's not what Jerry needs to see. That's not what Jerry wants to see, and that's certainly not what Jason Garrett needs. But I don't think anything that happens this week or in the playoffs or whatever, if they make it, will affect what happens long-term with Jason Garrett.
Long-term with Jason Garrett, it doesn't feel like it will be long-term. It feels like it's unrecoverable.
Well, I'll say this. Jerry Jones will not fire Jason Garrett. But the only reason he won't fire Jason Garrett is because he doesn't have to, because his contract expires. So that's the way I've always tried to look at it. Is Jerry, I don't think really wants to fire Jason, and he really doesn't have to. He just waits until the contract and runs out at the end of the season. And Jerry made a particular comment a couple weeks ago on his weekly radio show he does here in Dallas, where he basically said Jason Garrett will be coaching in the NFL next season. That was the comment.
Yeah, but
people take that for what it is.
But he didn't say where.
Cowboys.
He didn't say where. And if he came back next year, boy, the pressure he would be under for a quick start. But it may be topped by the pressure next year in Austin on Tom Herman.
Exactly. I mean, talk about the difference from a year ago when we were talking about Texas and are they back, the 10th-win team that went to the Sugar Bowl and played Georgia, and and then Bevo had that exchange with the Bulldog, which was probably one of the best moments of the whole bowl season last year. But this year, they just couldn't get anything going consistently, and they would be up and down. And Tom Herman's got to figure that out because he's already made it. Orlando, the defense coordinator's already gone, and he's making some other changes. But yeah, he's got to make some progress. I mean, he's going in a 4th year, and I mean, maybe that 10-win season wasn't the best thing for him to happen in the 2nd year because it sure set some expectations for this year that did not even come close to being reached.
Stephen, I tell you this every time we visit. You may be in one of the best spots in the country with the very busy, crowded sports scene. Always something to cover in the Metroplex, Dallas-Fort Worth area, and that includes the Dallas Mavericks. What kind of sensation is that causing in Dallas with this improved team and one of the real young stars of the game in Luka Doncic?
Oh, Luka Doncic is he's just such a fun player to watch. He's been a little hampered a little bit by some injury, but you can just see a kid that has fun playing the game. You can see a kid that's not pressured by the expectations that kind of got put on him when Dirk Nowitzki, is retired. And everybody kind of looked at this new young kid as maybe the next Dirk, which is really unfair to do to the kid at this point. But you can tell what a player he's going to be. He's fun to watch. He's brought a lot of excitement to the organization. Heck, I didn't think this team would be in the situation they're in right now, but with him before Zingas, it says a lot about the future. I don't know what exactly is going to happen this year because there's still a long way to go. But I think for the future, I think they've kind of got things headed in the right direction again. And I tell you what, though, it's a lot different not seeing Dirk out there because he was a lot of fun to watch. But they've got their player for the future, and just hopefully that things keep continuing the way they are.
Stephen, so great to catch up with you. Thank you for your time today. Look forward to seeing you sometime soon. I can't wait to my next trip back to the Cotton Bowl someday, but I can't wait to see you in Oxford maybe sometimes next year on board the Lane Train.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. They never let me get out of town during football season. That's the only hard part. I'm always here. I got plenty to do,
You got plenty to do, and we're glad you shared some time with us today. Enjoy the game. We'll look forward to your coverage of the Tigers against Penn State on Saturday. Happy New Year, Stephen. Thank you.
Happy New Year, Brad. Thanks, buddy.
You got it. Stephen Hawkins at the AP desk in Dallas, and fun to always see and visit with. And you're going to hear it from everybody that went down, fans, media, administration of the University of Memphis. next week you will hear just how much fun and how well treated they will be at the Cotton Bowl, because it is. But we've got a great one here, and the treatment is being, and the red carpet being rolled out to the United States Naval Academy and to Kansas State this week in Memphis before their game at 2:45 on Tuesday. I'll brawl over the bowls. I love the bowl system. I've never been to a bad one. I promise you I haven't. I love going to the Birmingham Bowl with Ole Miss when we went. We were so hungry for a bowl, and look, if it's Birmingham Bowl come next December or whenever they play that game next year with Ole Miss, I'll be glad to go. But we've got a great one here, and the Cotton Bowl is one of the very best. And you're going to hear people just the treatment and the goodies and everything that goes with it. And I'm so happy for our Tiger fans to enjoy this. And as I've said a couple of times, this was well earned. This was no backing into anything.
It was earned.
It was earned, John, and back against the wall from the Temple game on. Zero margin for error. That's a lot of pressure on a team, on a coaching staff, and then I don't know if it was controversial.
On a much maligned quarterback, he had no more room for errors.
None. I mean, it was booed lustily. Down 14-10 in the AAC championship game. I thought that was a little much, but whatever. You pay for your ticket. You can do what you want. But from the Temple game on, they had to win. The coaching staff with the, not controversy, but the rumors swirling around Mike Norvell, I thought everybody handled it really well. If you go back to the beginning of the year, remember Allie Prescott was in his interim AD-ship. He navigated those waters very well. So a lot of things went right for the Tigers to land in football nirvana on Saturday morning. What do you think the TV rating will be in Memphis Saturday?
You know that we have the best rating almost for like the worst game
We
ever.
watch everything.
For a Memphis game in the Cotton Bowl, like 90%. Like it's going to be, the ratings are going to be so ridiculous, I don't even know the number to give them.
And as I said to Elliot, very few times in my life has Tiger basketball had to gently take somewhat of a backseat to Tigers football. But I guarantee you, everybody with the basketball program would say great. Glad that they are, because the Tiger football team at 12-1 playing Penn State. You know, you go through Penn State's schedule, and they had the most narrow. They played Ohio State closer than anybody else, 11-point loss, and they had the 5-point loss a few weeks before that to Minnesota. Everything else, except for a road game at Iowa, they won 17-12, and at home against Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, they won 28-21. Everything else was pretty big blowouts. 59-0 over Maryland. I think Maryland was undefeated going into that game. 35-7 over Purdue. 28-7 over Michigan State. Had a close one against Tom Allen in Indiana. And then at the end of the year, 27-6 over Rutgers. But pretty easy in the 10 wins for Penn State, for James Franklin, playing against Memphis Saturday. Ryan Silverfield can start 1-0. That'd be batting 1,000. He can carry that 1,000% batting average all the way to opening day of 2020. What a deal.
He could, but you know what? I almost feel like he's already batting 1,000 just for the
Everything
simple fact
he
he
says.
got the job and they're in the Cotton Bowl.
And every statement he makes, I mean, he is a very...
Oh, he has won the conference.
He has won the press conference. And now, you know, the best time to be a head coach is at 0-0. But that old Saul could take a back seat to he could have some victory lap as 1-0. Can you imagine being Ryan Silverfield around town between now and opening day next year?
They beat Penn State, and people will literally, honest to goodness, and I hate to say this because Mike Norvell deserves a lot of love.
He does,
but
sure.
If they beat Penn State in the Cotton Bowl and Ryan Silver's the head guy, we won't hear Mike Norvell's name in the entire spring.
It'd be a great way to
summer,
move on.
Nothing.
It'd be a great way to move on. God, I got John Harden in now trying to help land this today. I got Zach. I had Carl. I still got Carl. Zach had to finally go home and get some sleep, didn't he?
I'm praying that man's going to make it home and get in the bed.
He will. When we come back, we will be in the home stretch. We'll talk a little college basketball with Blake Lovell from Clutch Points app, Blue Ribbon Magazine. We'll talk about the SEC that had a big win with South Carolina over Virginia, but a lot of ugly non-conference losses for the SEC, and it's time to start talking maybe a little bit of bracketology with Blake. We'll do that next. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats and Zach and Carl and John and a cast of thousands. Drew in Dallas, Dave in Dallas. We'll be back. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
From all of us at Sports 56, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
The Vargas family, legendary Memphis restaurateur, starting with Mr. Charlie and continuing today with his grandchildren.
Brett, it just dawned on me the other day that while Memphis is celebrating its bicentennial, the Rendezvous has been here well over one-third of Memphis's existence. Someone asked me if we remember the day the Rendezvous started, and I tell them no, because if we thought it was going to last this long, we'd have kept much better records. But we're not a place to rest on our laurels or reputation. We're always trying to add new things to make our customers' experience more enjoyable. Friday lunches have always been special because we give away our red beans and rice. But we are now adding a sausage sandwich. It's the same sausage we serve on our cheese and sausage plate, but it will be served lengthwise on the bun with beans and slaw on the side. We've also partnered with a company called Devillet out of Dyersburg to introduce a new sweet glazed mustard with Rendezvous seasoning in it. It will really go great with a sandwich. I still recommend adding slaw. My grandfather had a hot dog stand on Beale Street in 1916, and we've come full circle using his slaw on our hot dogs. Hope to see you this Friday at the Rendezvous.
In the Alley in downtown Memphis.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
800-561-6198. 800-561-6198. 800-561-6198. Again, that's 800-561-6198.
The construction reduction event is on at Wolf Chase Honda. Exciting changes are in the works and inventory must be reduced. Get the best deals right now on all remaining 2019 Hondas while they last. Every new car, every certified, every used car, price to go. Get pre-approved now at wolfchasehonda.com. Wolf Chase Honda is expanding and our prices are dropping. Don't miss these savings. Act now. This huge construction reduction event ends soon.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family-owned since 1981.
And the coach calls timeout. Wait a minute, you can't call timeout when you have leaks and Mother Nature is roaring through your home.
A technical foul from outer space may be in order.
Don't know about that, but we can measure your roof from outer space at BrianElderRoofing.com.
So if you need repairs or wondering if you think you may have a claim,
call me before you call your insurance company. And we've got 0% interest for 60 months with approved credit. We won't try to sell you a new roof if all you need is a repair.
My friend Chris Price, a longtime donor of the U of M. Call him, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
God bless America, Penny and Mike, and go Tigers.
And now back to the game.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Here once again
are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave and Drew in Dallas. Gabe Kuhn on his way to Dallas. Greg Gaston on his way to Dallas. Everybody at the radio station on their way to Dallas, but we're with you, and we're with you until 6 o'clock today, and we'll be back with you tomorrow all day, and we will be here from 3 to 6 tomorrow and building into the much anticipated and so much fun, the run up to it. It's gone by fast. It'll just be 3 weeks from when the Tigers defeated Cincinnati at the Liberty Bowl Stadium until the game, but it sometimes felt interminable to hurry up and get here, and it is hurrying up and getting here on Saturday. We'll break a little bit from the football talk to talk college basketball. We do it this time every Thursday with Blake Lovell talking college basketball. He covers the SEC for Clutch Points app. He's the editor at Clutch Points app, writes for Blue Ribbon Magazine. You can follow him on Twitter at @TheBlakeLovell. And Blake, most of the work for the SEC and for most of college basketball, a lot of your RPI, it has been done. It is what it is. Now you get into conference play and you can have some wins that vault you, but it's really hard to go from 60 RPI to 5 now because you just don't have that inventory of games.
Yeah, Brad, you're sort of just relying on your conference now. It's a matter of your schedule through the conference teams, however they did, and that's why once conference play gets here, obviously everyone's playing against everyone. But that's why you hear coaches all the time. I mean, they're focused on their team in non-conference play, but they're also focused on the other teams in their conference because it's like you need them to do well because otherwise, you're not going to have as many opportunities for huge wins. And I think, specifically with the SEC, we've talked about it over the past several weeks. The SEC has left a lot of good wins on the table, and that's put the league probably in a situation where I kind of said it to people right now. I think 5 is probably the most realistic number, but if you had to ask me if I think it's going to be 5 or 6 or 4, I think it's probably leaning more towards 4 teams getting in versus 6 at this point.
I am with you on that, and great win for Frank Martin in South Carolina to defeat the defending national champions, Virginia, but too many losses left out there.
Yeah, no, and it seems like they've done this many times before now. They've been in situations where they'll go, they'll lose a lot of games in conference play. They get better. That's how the teams are. But yet, what holds them back is usually the fact that they just lose some of those games they feel like they shouldn't lose. The one to Boston University is the one that's really going to stand out this year because they shouldn't have lost that one. Losing to Wichita State and Houston aren't bad losses by any means, but it's just they just leave some of those opportunities because otherwise, like you said, you get a win against Virginia. If you don't lose to Boston University, people are looking at you a whole lot different right now. And so it's going to be interesting. I tell you, it's very fascinating to where I don't know that this is a huge surprise based on how young the conference is this year and how tough it's been for some of these teams to really adjust to the point line. There's a lot of bad shooting teams in the SEC. Combine those together, and it sort of explains the struggle so far.
Some of the jump shooting, some of the outside shooting around college basketball can sometimes get hard to watch.
Yeah, no, it can. I mean, it's and we said this before the line moved back, didn't we? I mean, we were talking about this and that, even the mid-range game and such, like, there's just not as much of it anymore. And you're basically relying on plays at the rim, which are going to draw fouls, or you've got teams shooting a lot of threes. And now that we're seeing this line move back, it's been an adjustment for a lot of different teams. And I think it's one where the coaches anticipated. We're talking to coaches all summer. They knew this was coming. It's just a matter of, I don't know that they knew to the extent of, wow, my team's really shooting it poorly. How do we make up for it? And I think, looking at the SEC and other conferences, what they've done is teams have just sort of adopted more of an attacking the rim mentality if they didn't have it before, because otherwise they have guys out there shooting 20-something% from three, and that's just not going to get it done in some of these games.
Blake, I was at an Eddie Sutton basketball practice around this time of year as he kind of went Junction Boys of college basketball on his team one year and kept them in Fayetteville. And I heard him tell the team, if you're not making a 15-footer, scoot up.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that hard, is it? Once you think about it, it's like it's just if and we do. I mean, and we know, we've said this many times, is sort of this era, where I guess a lot of people sort of categorize it as the ESPN era, where highlights are the big thing, and, you try to maybe make the flashy play or try to make the hard play sometimes look easy instead of just making the easy play look easy. Like, just, go make the easy shot. Your coaches talk about that all the time, where some teams just get a little happy with jump shots, or they try to do things they can't do, and I think that's where this extended three-point line, and that's just what coaches said. I mean, it's like, it's going to separate the average shooters from the really, really good shooters, and so the shooters who are still able to make, 38% of their threes, 40% of their threes, whatever, those guys can shoot it. But the guys maybe who last year were at 34% or something like that, or 32%, well, maybe you're seeing some of these guys really go back to that 27, 28% range, and that's what we say. That's what separates some of the great ones from the ones who maybe could get away with it with the old line, but they're certainly not getting away with it with this new line.
Blake, it feels like every year heading in out of the old calendar year into the new calendar year, like we are from 19 to 20, it feels like it's wide open. And I think we say this every year as well, but this year really feels wide open. We were talking before the show, a couple of us off air, and I think low side teams that could just make it to Saturday of the Final Four, losing the national semis, not win at all, just get to Atlanta. 20?
Sounds about right. I mean, I would tell you that's probably something you can go with, and you could probably look around and say, I could see it being higher, to be honest with you.
I could too.
I was looking at some of these teams. Yeah, it's incredible, because I was looking on, I love Ken Pomeroy. I love how he kind of puts together all his rankings and everything. And looking at some of these teams that are even lower than that, I mean, look at Houston. Houston right now, I think, is 25th. And Ken Palm, and we've seen what they're capable of. I mean, yeah, very good team.
Good
they
coach.
Won the Diamond Head Classic. Yeah, great coach. I mean, they've done all this. They beat South Carolina by 20 in Columbia. So there's lots of different teams, I think, in that range that we look at and say, wow, that team's capable. And I mean, this is a different situation now with James Wiseman, but even Memphis. I mean, there's just so many different teams that are ranked in that lower range right now that you look at and say, I can see that team getting there, because the teams ranked ahead of them just have proven many times just to not be very consistent, though, so far. So it's going to make conference play very interesting, but more so, it's almost like whoever wins these big conferences, we're just kind of going to look at it and say, well, that's great, but we still know there's probably 3 or 4 teams behind you that could very well sneak up and go farther than you can in the tournament. And that's what makes it fun every year, but I think specifically this year it's going to make it very exciting.
We've kind of played musical chairs with the AP #1 team. We're not for a while. Gonzaga's going to get there and stay there a while, maybe until Selection Sunday.
Yeah, they very well could. And I think, the bigger story for me is I still don't know that Mark Few and Gonzaga, I still think there are people out there who think that Gonzaga, because they play in the WCC, just have this, somehow they get there based off their conference. It is remarkable what they've done. And when you really break down the numbers and look at how far they've come and just how many of these seasons they've had where they are now easily one of the top programs in the country every single season. You can put them up against anyone. Like we say, I mean, they've already beaten Oregon, they've beaten Arizona, they've beaten North Carolina. It's just incredible. It's remarkable to look at because of the job he's done there. Like you said, really, you look at their schedule. I mean, aside from the usual game at St. Mary's, which is one we always work down every year, probably the one at BYU, you're just not seeing one there where you feel like they're going to lose. And that's probably going to put them in a pretty good position to be there. Come the 1st of March, they're going to be the #1 team in the country, and you'd probably be surprised otherwise.
All right, so I categorized 20 that could get to Atlanta. I think there are about 10 to 12 that can really be thinking about one shining moment playing for them on that first Monday in April, and I think Memphis is still in that group.
Yeah, no, and I do too. I think we've talked about it a couple times. It's one of those deals where I say this every year. It's the youth versus experience thing, and people like to bring up that discussion. And when you look at some of these teams, you'll point to the Kentucky teams or the Duke teams of recent years, where they've been so young, and maybe there's just been so many opportunities that they just can't take that next step, maybe because of their youth that holds them back. We know they have all the talent in the world. And I think that's something with Memphis where, I mean, they're the youngest team in the country. When you look at who they play and underclassmen and all that, it's something where you can't replicate the experience. And that's where I think we started to see so many more upsets in college basketball, where you have these mid-major teams who have these players, who aren't affected by the transfers, of course, but they have these players for 3 to 4 years, and they're able to make these upsets because they have that chemistry. But I think with Memphis, they're just so dang talented that it's like you can see them doing it, like you just said, because they are going to be tested in this conference. I tell you, I've become more and more impressed with this conference. And as we were talking about Houston, you talk about all the different teams. They're going to be in a situation where they're going to have to go through a grind.
Wichita
to
State?
Be ready for the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got Wichita State. I mean, there's so many different teams in there. And I think there's so many different styles, too, where Memphis is going to be ready. Anyone in that conference is going to be ready, I think, for the tournament. And that's going to be making it pretty interesting to me just to see how all those teams come out and kind of are prepared for their tournament.
On the road at Tulsa, on the road at Central Florida. They're not going to lose all these, but it could be challenging at these spots. On the road at Houston, on the road at Cincinnati. Boy, there's been a big chemistry question there this year with that coaching change, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, and I'm someone too that was, I'm pretty high on John Brandon, but I guess you can also look at it and say, well, it is a situation where, we have to think too just how long Mick Cronin was there and sort of
that's right
how he came into that job, and it's where it's just that long lineage of guys who just, I don't know, that they just seem to sort of be there for long periods, and once you have a guy who is so ingrained in that program and he leaves, it makes it very different. And I do think John Brandon will eventually be fine there. But, that there are always adjustments, and the adjustments don't always work at times, especially in that first year. I think he'll be all right, though, eventually here. Once he starts to get guys, maybe that's what he wants to do a little bit more. And as we know, in Cincinnati, they've just always been a defensive type of team that's just grinded it out on defense. And maybe, that's what he wants to do as well. But it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But I happen to think that they're going to be okay there.
How good? I asked the question and answered. How good a job did Mick Cronin do at Cincinnati? He almost made us forget about Bob Huggins at Cincinnati.
Right, exactly, and that's a good point. It's something where when he got there, it was, and we know this even while he was there. It was sort of the same knock on him as there was on Bob Huggins in terms of, can Cincinnati take that next step, and can they go on the first round, second round, or whatever? And eventually, it's like, the tournament is something where I know that all coaches get judged on the tournament appearances and how far do you go in the tournament. But it is at times such a random sort of deal to where I almost think you have to look at an entire body of work and say, yeah, but, look at just the job he's able to do to get this many wins year in and year out and have his team in a position year in and year out to be in that spot. And when that's where I think you have to look at coaches. It has to go a little bit deeper sometimes, just saying, oh, well, this team got upset in the first round or second round or something like that. Again, it's the randomness of the tournament. We've seen it every single year. And it's something where, look at Virginia. Virginia got upset the year later. They came back and won the national championship. So I think you look further into a coach's body of work, and like you said, for Mick Cronin, someone had a lot of success there. And I think, like we just said with John Brandon at Cincinnati, I think you completely sort of throw out Mick Cronin's year at UCLA this year because this isn't going to be anything that sort of looks like what his team's going to look like for years to come.
And what Virginia did, that redemption act that they pulled off from, the ugliest NCAA tournament loss ever, finally being the one to fall to the 16 seed to coming back and winning this year. It was one of the great stories of this calendar year. Blake, we've had fun with you all year. I know we will next year. Next year starts next week. We look forward to visiting with you then, and Happy New Year's to you and yours, and continued great holiday season. Thank you, Blake.
Same to you, Brett. Thanks as always.
You got it. A lot of fun. Blake Lovell talking college basketball with us. Who could be that redemption team this year? like Virginia? Could it be Texas Tech and Chris Beard that were really close last year, losing in the national semis? Could it be Rick Barnes getting things worked out at Tennessee? When we were talking with Stephen Hawkins earlier about next year, Tom Herman at Texas could enter the year on a little bit of a hot seat for them. If Texas had it all over to do again, would you move away from Mack Brown and Rick Barnes like they did? Sometimes just settle in with the guy instead of the newest thing, because Texas has gotten on a bad roll getting rid of those two legendary figures. Look, there's a brand new All-Star Chevy for you in Olive Branch with a big red bow and your name on it. It's at All-Star Chevrolet. If you're ready for a new Chevy, a Silverado, a Traverse, the all-new Blazer, ready for any new Chevy, you can get any of the 2019s at employee pricing. You know what that means? You could save thousands paying what the employees pay. And most of the 2019s, they're included. Lots more than any other Mid-South dealer. Go to allstarautogroup.com and see what I'm talking about. Remember, don't go to the Pike or Mount Moriah or Collierville or South Haven for the Beat Any Dealer's Price Challenge. And your best time ever, it's got to be Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy and Olive Branch, or go to allstarautogroup.com today. When we come back, we'll wrap up this day with Taco Bell Crunch Time and a few other things. 7-0. Whoo. Oh, dogfight down at the Independence Bowl in Shreveport, Louisiana Tech, hanging on to the lead over the U. We come back. We wrap up this Thursday. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One with a preview of Sunday Night Football. The NFC West title will be on the line in the final game of the regular season when the Seattle Seahawks host the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams are headed to the playoffs, and the 49ers are playing well. But Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are coming off a bad performance and loss last week to the Cardinals. Head coach Pete Carroll says that game won't affect their focus this week.
We're fortunate that we have a chance to play for a division this late in the year, and what's important for us is to turn and be disciplined about this so that we can turn our focus to that week and not be affected by what just happened. We're going to do that really well.
Kevin Kugler and Hall of Famer Jason Taylor will have the call on Sunday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Hey, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Quicken Loans is celebrating our best quarter ever, and now we're celebrating some of the lowest refinancing rates ever. Rates have dropped so much that many Americans can reduce their rate. You may be able to save money on your monthly mortgage payment right now. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.18%. Call us at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.375% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
This holiday season, Dodge's gift to you is Dodge Power Dollars. That means you get $10 cash allowance per horsepower off of a 2019 Charger or Challenger. So hurry in to the Dodge Big Finish event today. You'll be ready for whatever winter throws your way in a Dodge Charger with available 485 horsepower or in a Dodge Challenger with available 797 horsepower. So hurry in to the Dodge Big Finish event to take advantage of Dodge Power Dollars today. See dealer for details. Offer not available in vehicle leases. Take retail delivery from dealer stock by 1/2/20.
Ho, ho, hold it. There's a brand new Chevy in Olive Branch with a big red bow and your name on it. If you're ready for a new Chevy, a Silverado, a Traverse, the all-new Blazer, ready for any new Chevy, most of All-Star's new 2019s are now at employee prices. You know what that means? You could save thousands paying what the employees pay. And most of the 2019s are included. All-Star has lots of 2019s, people. Lots more than any other Mid-South dealers. And All-Star Chevrolet and Olive Branch has the best testing grounds in the Mid-South. Back roads, highways, get a feel for it, and maybe that'll end up underneath your tree. Just go to allstarautogroup.com and see what I'm talking about. And remember, don't go to the Pike or Mount Moriah or Collierville or South Haven. For the Beat Any Dealer's Price Challenge and your best time ever, it's gotta be Olive Branch. So find new roads to All-Star Chevy and Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com today. It's time to bring in the old and drive home with the new.
Is imitation the sincerest form of flattery? Not.
When it comes to your car audio.
Stereo One is the leader in car audio, remote start, security, and more for the past 30 years. Stereo One is proud to announce the grand opening of their new location, 1983 Covington Pike, across from the Honda dealership. To celebrate their new location, Stereo One has marked down their entire inventory. Remote start systems at $129.
With free installation.
Subwoofer base packages start at just $199. Window tint starting at $129. The entire inventory of radios and touchscreens with features like Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, and backup cameras are marked to go. Check out Stereo One before you buy online. Their knowledge, friendly sales staff, and pro installation team will take care of you. Visit the Stereo One new location today, 1983 Covington Pike, across from Honda, or visit their mega store at Mendenhall and Winchester. Make sure you go to the originators and not the imitators.
Stereo One is still the one for your auto accessories.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking, no telephone pole to get in your way, a cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time. You are looking live. It's crunch time. In your life, have you seen anything like that?
Golly, I don't remember that one.
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
He's a professional. He's pretty classy for his age.
In the crunch time, that's the frustrating part.
Oh, no, not again.
Little Penny could make some appearances this year.
Okay, I'm not huge into stats.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working?
Immediately when the buzzer sounds, he lets out this shriek.
He'd throw those ears forward. He was in stroke mode.
It's obviously crunch time.
Boop, boop, boop. That's what you're getting. Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
Well, I learned today that the Grizzlies are just 3 back of the 8th seed in the final Western Conference playoff spot, 11-20 after 31 games. This point last year, after 31, they were 16 up and 15 down. Went 4-16 over the next 20 last year. They'll do much better than that this year if they don't have any big injuries, and just 3 back of the 8th and final playoff seed. Could have done without. Dick Vitale on Twitter a couple of times keep floating the idea, and Carl and I, we talked about it earlier, of James Wiseman reconsidering. That would be one of the upsets of all time on a lot of different levels. I don't know about his academics. I don't want to get into his business there, and I don't know about his agent dealing. But that's a lot you got to overcome first semester academics and any agent dealings for him to return. I don't know why Dick Vitale is out there floating that possibility. Maybe he knows something I don't know, but not a single person administratively with any connection to the program thinks it's even a remote possibility. Keeping a close eye on a lot. The end of the Independence Bowl, the Quick Lane Bowl tonight. 14 years ago tonight, we were in Detroit. No, it was an afternoon game. We were leaving about this time for the end of the D'Angelo Williams era. What a 14 years for Tigers football since that day. Some bad, but a lot of good and a lot of improvement. D'Angelo Williams, Danny Wimprine, and that crew really helped to get it started. Tomorrow morning, Temple in North Carolina. You think Texas has any regrets about running off Mack Brown and Rick Barnes? We alluded to it in the last segment. To do that, and they really hadn't gotten either spot settled in football or basketball since then. And the real funny aspect of it, are you ready for the punchline? When they ran off Mack Brown, Texas thought they were going to get Nick Saban. What a laugh. Grizzlies in Oklahoma City tonight. Tigers in Dallas. We'll keep an eye on all that. Portland at Utah. A Grizzlies win tonight and a Portland loss late. The Grizzlies are just 2 back for that 8th seed in the playoffs. Really a tough spot for this management team. Don't blow it. Keep the plan alive. This is not a playoff team this year. We visited about that with Elliot Perry. I want to thank Elliot. I want to thank Bill Bender. I want to thank Russell Copeland. I want to thank Stephen Hawkins and Blake Love as well for joining us. Sure want to thank Dave for jumping in. I want to thank Drew in his absence, but I want to thank John and Carl and Zach, all the help they did today, and we'll be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock for another edition of Sports Time. Talk to you then.
5 years, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 has been bringing you great local sports talk. With 13 hours of local talk daily, we continue to be Memphis's local sports leader. The day starts with Keith Parker and Elliot Wender on the Press Box from 6 to 7, followed by the Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt from 7 to 10. Sports 56 middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy takes you through lunch from 10 until 1. And then, John Harden brings you Johnny Radio's Happy Hour from 1 to 3. Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy drive you home every afternoon with Sports Time with Wolo and Stats from 3 till 6. And John Rennie wraps up the day with Southern Sports Report from 6 to 7 before we turn things over to Fox Sports Radio to get you through the evening. We also bring you Ole Miss sports, NFL football, and the NCAA basketball tournament. Don't miss anything. Keep your radio locked in right here on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselimembrace.com.
Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkhammer for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. Thinking about buying a newer used car or truck? Remember, the selection's better and the savings are bigger at Sunrise. Over 600 new cars and trucks to choose from. Factory savings up to $13,000 and interest rates low as 0%. Immediate financing with next to nothing down and a $6 million used car inventory. Specializing in cars and trucks under $10,000 and monthly payments under $200. Bad credit? It's okay. At Sunrise, we've got a financing plan for everybody. SunriseMemphis.com. We're saving you money. It's just a way of doing business. Covington, Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville. We make it fun to buy a car again.
Wrap your gifts with love this holiday season and support the kids of St. Jude by purchasing a handmade movie bow for only $1 each. Available from Thanksgiving through Christmas Day at all Malco locations. Happy holidays from Malco Theaters.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Luka Doncic returns. An MVP candidate this year, has missed almost 2 weeks with a sprained ankle. He's averaging 29 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists per game. The Lakers' LeBron James, with his groin injury, re-aggravated it yesterday, could be missing his team's road games this weekend. The Lakers have lost 4 in a row. 2 college football bowl games in Detroit tonight. It's Eastern Michigan against Pitt. In Shreveport, Louisiana, Louisiana Tech leads 7-0 with 7 minutes left in the game against the University of Miami. Washington quarterback Jacob Eason declared for the NFL draft. The Holiday Bowl is on FS1 tomorrow night from San Diego. USC against Iowa. College football's national semifinals are this Saturday, starting with number 1 LSU against Oklahoma. I'm Steve DeSager.
We are Fox Sports. Do you know who this is?
Fox Sports Radio's Odd Couple. One guy's married, one guy is divorced, one guy has no kids, one guy has 2 beautiful daughters, one guy went to college in a cornfield in Ohio, one guy went to an Ivy League school in the big city, one guy spends his Sunday morning seated in the pew.
Does this seem weird to anybody else?
The other spends it throwing money at the pole. Can these 2 sports writers share a radio show without driving each other crazy? From the Geico studios of Fox Sports Radio, with Telly Hughes sitting in for Chris Broussard. Here's Rob Parker.
Welcome in on this day after Christmas, December 26th. And yes, we are live. It's the Odd Couple, Rob Parker. And Telly Hughes in for Chris Broussard. And we're coming to you live from the Geico Fox Sports Radio studios. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more in car insurance. So visit geico.com for a free rate quote. What a show we have for you. Obviously, we're going to talk about that big Lakers-Clippers game from Christmas night. Also, Vince Goodwill will stop by from Yahoo Sports. He's the senior NBA writer. Also, trolling and rolling with Martin Weiss. He'll be here. We'll do a little shop talk later on in the program. And former NFL wide receiver and NFL analyst Tori Gurley will also drop by. So we'll do football as well. So let's first by introducing my co-host, Mr. Telly Hughes. What's up, Telly?
What's up? Good to be back, man.
It is good to have you back. You're going to be on tonight and tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it,
and
man.
Tell people who didn't live in Wisconsin or Minnesota a little bit about you.
Boy, I didn't know. Come on, man.
Just
you were supposed to prep me about this. I didn't know I was going to have to reintroduce myself.
Nah,
but
just a little bit.
Telly Hughes, I'm a Capricorn. I've been in broadcasting for 20 years.
You can already hear the voice. He has a broadcasting voice.
I've covered the Milwaukee Brewers, Milwaukee Bucks for Fox Sports Wisconsin. I also covered the Twins, Timberwolves. Hosted the Tubby Smith Show back in the day for Fox Sports North. When he was at the University of Minnesota. You don't even remember that, do you?
No, I don't. Did you do the Wild?
I did the Wild. I did Gopher Hockey.
There, you did the Wild.
I did the Wild.
Yes. You know, it ain't often that brothers are covering hockey, but in Detroit.